Hello, everybody. My name is Donovan from Salt of the Streets, and thank you for joining me for this month's episode of SOS ID. My guest for this month is my good friend Micaiah. You guys have seen him before. He is a member of the Upper Left Music Group and a frequent guest of the show. It's been a while since he's been on, but he has been on many times before. I asked Micaiah to come in because, of course, for SOS ID, the main theme is men's mental health, and I respect Micaiah greatly for who he is as a man, a father, and the way that he conducts himself in conversation. We started by talking about all the different jobs that he's had. He used to be a school bus driver and kind of how he got out of that with this bus driving accident that he had and how that got him into teaching actually driver's ed school of all things now. Him growing up with a stay-at-home father and the way that that influenced kind of his family structure now and spending a lot of time with his daughter and his wife kind of working more hours. And we also got into some of their support structure, their expansive and very solid support structure that kind of allows them to live the lives that they do and be able to have a lot of time together. It sounds like their marriage is very strong as a result of that, which is what we also talked about some of the lessons that can be learned from being a driver's ed teacher and driving in general and not being self-centered and stuff like that, and some of the way that these things influence kind of the morals and structure of Micaiah's family and his life and things like this, and even getting it down into kind of him breaking the mold of, like we're talking about the stay-at-home father and the way that he's going about his creativity and the way that he's going about his jobs and just his life in general is breaking the mold in so many different ways. And I think that's such an interesting story, and he's such a creative guy and such an interesting dude. I had a really, really good time with him. We ended up talking more and more, like I said, about creativity and kind of his lifestyle and the way that he goes about things and how that kind of counteracts this like manosphere kind of grind lifestyle that we've talked about before with Elijah. And I sat down with Elijah the following week, so we talked about some of that with him as well. I had a really great conversation with Micaiah. I really hope you guys enjoy it. Of course, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, share, tell everybody that you know about this. I think this is a really important project that I'm doing here, a really important show that I'm working on. Of all the stuff that I'm doing right now, this is the one that I still feel really good about and that I'm still actively working towards putting out. So I really hope that you guys enjoy it and that there's some things that you can learn from this and that you find it worth watching and sharing with your friends. So thank you guys very much, and get subscribed, share, and like it. Thank you. People ask us now, reasons to, and they ask, I don't know, this,
Right.
we're open to it, but I'm certainly not having a kid right now. Like, that sounds like a horrible idea.
It sounds bad right
sounds
now.
terrible.
Like, now?
Yeah.
If you ask me right now?
Yeah. A transition from one kid to two, I felt like was easy in my experience because you already kind of knew what you were doing, like when the second baby's born, it was almost, the real difference was just a change in schedule, like that. Now there's like 2 naps now that we have to reaccommodate back into the schedule that we weren't before. Dax was down to 1 nap when Reason was born, and then quickly after that stopped taking naps. So that was a difference. But other than that, you'd done all that stuff before, so it didn't that wasn't difficult to just kind of shift back into that new baby mode.
Right.
But it feels like it's just more chaos all the time.
Yeah.
There's just always more shit going on, when it was just Dax, it was way easier to get something done in the day,
Right.
oh, fucking watch an episode of this, I'm gonna crush this chore and then we'll move on,
Yeah.
But if they don't want to watch the same thing, or if a Reason just doesn't want to watch TV,
Right.
or even if she does, she just fucking whatever,
It's like one of them wants to, one of them doesn't.
And she's Reason's very, she just has no chill, there's just there's no patience, there's no chill, there's no anything, so when she's ready to play, she's shoving things into your hand, while
Right.
you're I'm playing Minecraft with Dax, and she's shoving toys into my hand, under the I'm I need 30 seconds, I'm trying to help your brother build a thing, she's like, hey, Daddy here,
Literally.
Daddy here, Daddy here, oh my God, yeah, and so it's just more stuff all the time,
Right.
That's how it feels, but. And they're just, they're just different. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized, how quickly they would develop personalities and be unique individuals. That you had to work around. And Dax is on the spectrum. So he has the even more some stuff. There's just the noise and stuff like that. It's just very chill. But a lot of it's just input stuff that I just didn't think about conducting this way before,
Yeah.
Now, if I'm gonna fucking run the blender, I have to. Do you want your hearing protection before I fucking run the blender?
Right.
Little shit that you're if I don't do this, he might come in here and scream. That would be bad,
I gotta give him headphones.
Yeah, it's just
man.
little stuff. Yeah, they just fuck, and the differences in there. We were talking about that a little bit upstairs. personality of our daughters, right? So how
Oh,
do you
yeah.
how do you deal with that, right? How do you
God.
yeah.
How do you do?
Because you're very chill. Like you've always been
always been super chill.
always been a chill person. And
Yeah.
you know, I don't think I've ever met your daughter, but I've seen her whatever you post on social media, and from what you say, it just seems like there's just a lot of attitude.
Oh, there's a lot of
sass,
attitude.
there's
There's a lot of attitude.
Yeah.
There's so much attitude, and I'm just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, man, can you just chill? Like, why can't you just like relax? But no, she's great though. She's great. She's great. She's good when she's nice when she wants to be nice.
Yeah.
She'll even say like, yes, sir. She'll be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then sometimes it's just like, no.
Yeah.
No. And I'm like, why? Why now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, she just has a lot of, like you said, personality developed really early.
Yeah.
I don't, she really is her own person. And I didn't think that at 3 going on 4, someone could be so individual. Like she is very independent. And I think being an only child has something to do with that.
Yeah.
To a certain degree too. But yeah, man, I don't know. And I also think she's a little more, she like has all that, you know, like the stuff parents talk about, like, oh, they have so much personality, they're so you know, or like my daughter has so much attitude. I feel like she has that, but like on steroids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she's also like even in her class, like I like, you know what I mean, like I don't know how to, I feel like she's like, I don't even know how to say it, but like almost like, I don't know. I feel like she's, I don't even know if leader is the right word, but she's like kind of like that student. You know what I mean? Like when we want to speak to other random parents, they're like, oh, who's your daughter again? It's like Soraya, and they're like, oh yeah, we hear a lot about Soraya at home. Like I'm like, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but they're like, we hear a lot about Soraya, right? And then like, even some of the teachers were like, yeah, she's almost like one of the teachers, and the other kids, she has kids that call her Miss Soraya in the class and stuff, and I'm like, what is happening
here?
Yeah, she's like a little bully. She has this girl that like fills up her water bottle for her and stuff.
My God.
And I'm just like, you can't do this to other kids.
Yeah, so how do you, because Jordan was saying this too, we're in like a very strong woman era. You know, that's just kind of like the time right now. It's just very strong women, you know, so how do you like, promote that, because you don't want to quash it, you know, you want to, like, if she's a strong woman, you want to be a strong woman.
Yeah, no.
Also, you can't take advantage of people, you can't fucking use
Right,
people, you know, like, how do you, like,
literally.
And at 4, it's like, you know, how do you deal with this when they're 4,
I know, right?
you know?
I'm like, you have to be nice. Like, I just keep using the word nice a lot. I'm like, you need to be nice. You have to be nice. You have to treat people nicely, you know what I'm saying? Like, if someone was doing that to you, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want... You know, like, you don't want me telling you what to do. You don't want me snatching your toy.
Right.
You don't want me to, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a way to ask people to do things, or there's a way to play with other kids, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, yeah, I feel like you have to find the balance, but it's not always easy. For
Do you guys have a, how do I put this, like a, maybe an example is the best thing, but I think the best term I can think of is like moral structure, right? But the best example, I'm going to use an example for our house, right? So in our house, we have the 2 big rules, right? And Dax learned these when he was like, I had probably 2. The 2 big rules: we don't hurt people and we don't take their stuff, right? And these are the 2 big rules because they're very important, obviously. You shouldn't take those things and you can't hurt people, but they're also, in my view of society, like, these are the cornerstones of the most important ways on how adults and people interact with each other. You know, that like the baseline of interactions is that if we want to have a cohesive life in the same area, I cannot hurt you and I cannot take your items. Like, you have a right to property and you have a right to self-protection. So this is the basis of how I expect you to interact when you're an adult, you know, the very base. So we started with that, you know, and we're not like, we're not religious, so we don't have, you know, we're not like Jesus says that this is how you fucking, you know, like
here's the Bible.
Right. So how do you guys go about that? Do you guys go to church? How do you?
Soraya goes to church. She goes to the church I grew up going to.
Okay.
So like when I get her there, because my parents were taking her and then they moved, and then I'm supposed to be taking her, but I've also been playing basketball with the guys at 8 a.m. on Sundays. So it's hard to it's hard to hoop and then go to church after and like change and get dressed and all that stuff.
That's
so
how you end up with the Nike socks inside of your dress shoes.
Literally, that's how you end up showering in the gym locker room and then running and then walking out of the gym in your dress clothes.
Yeah.
Like people being like, I'm going to church.
Yeah.
Okay. But Yeah, so she does go to church, but as far as like in the house, that's not like the basis of. It's really just like it's kind of that. Um, yeah, it's really just like making sure, like if something does happen, it's like this is one thing you just absolutely don't do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and I guess those would be the two. Cause like you said, I'm a pretty chill dude, and I'm a pretty chill dad too for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, despite with some family members and or grandparents might be like, oh, you're a little too relaxed on this, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's for me most of the stuff like just being a kid, like it's whatever, man. Like
Well, you pick your battles,
she knows,
you
yeah,
know?
and you pick your
There's-
battles.
What is actually worth arguing
yeah,
about?
so it's like for me, it's the moments, and I pick my battles. So when something seems really serious to me, or not even if it's serious, but something that should be serious, or if there's a moment where a lesson needs to be taught,
Yeah.
that's when I become hard dad. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's when I'm like, take it to the other side. Like, okay, we need to have a sit down. We need to have a talk. We need to make sure you understand the situation and why I'm making such a big deal about it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's I kind of do it like it's a momentary thing. Like
Yeah.
like you said, pick your battles. It's like moment by moment, day by day. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I operate it.
When it can be really hard, especially in this situation, to like frame the scenario in a way for like, this is why this is not okay. Like I
Right.
get that this feels not right to you. Like
Right.
I know how you feel, but this is why exactly it's not okay.
Yeah,
You know,
because
but
people say that all the time. Like, explain it to me like I'm a child. And it's
right.
like, all right, that's
Right.
this is what I've been trying to do with my daughters. I was like, yeah, you have to. She's 4, and you have to
Yeah.
explain it to her like she's 4. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
yeah, sometimes it's like it's hard to get the point across. You know what I mean? To someone who's not understanding why. You know what I mean? The why.
Right.
So, because all they feel are feelings,
Especially
in the moment.
Right, right. And especially if it's not like I think a good example is like the water bottle thing, right? Like that girl probably isn't complaining, you know, she's doing it like she's probably like, oh, we're friends, like I'm fucking whatever. But
Yeah.
like as an adult, you're like, this is not a good like interaction. Like
No,
you can't
this is
like
not-
this isn't a good relationship. This is, you know, so that's a difficult thing to approach because it's just like probably both of the girls are like, why? Like I don't like I want her to fill my water bottle and I want to
Yeah,
fill it up
she's
for
like,
her.
wanna
Like
do
I
it.
know, yeah.
I want to be
You're
around.
like,
I want to
she's
hang out.
using you. Like this is
Yeah,
not okay.
You're
But
not supposed to be doing it this
right,
way.
right, yeah. That type of stuff is really difficult.
Like, she needs to fill up her own water bottle. for real.
Right. We ran into that over Christmas. We went to Leavenworth and stayed in an Airbnb with like Jordan's parents and her sister and Michael and their kids were in town and we were there for like 10 days. And so all the kids, you know, were in the house together for 10 days. And Kevin, our nephew, is just like a year older than Dax, but he goes to public school and Dax does homeschool stuff. And so just the difference in the way they interact with each other is like wild, you know, because Kevin's interacting with 30 other kids all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So he's like doing this just weird social stuff that like Dax doesn't pick up on because he's like he hangs out with tons of kids.
He's
but,
around kids.
yeah, but in
yeah.
different, not in a classroom scenario.
Yeah.
You know? And so like just like teasing and like just weird stuff that's like don't do this. This is not a behavior we're gonna pick up when we go home. You know?
Yeah.
We're not gonna start doing this like that. Like don't learn this from Kevin. And stuff like that. He's like, why?
Literally, it's like stuff they learn from other kids is one of
Right.
the biggest things too. It's like stuff they bring home. You're like, that's like, yeah, definitely. It's definitely a thing, an issue.
Josh Keaton, the one we went to school with, he's a teacher. You know, I don't know if you know that.
I did not know
He's a history teacher in junior high.
What? That's cool.
In fucking like, I don't know the school, but it's over in like Everett or something like that. Like it's just a ways. And so that's part of why I always talk to him about like structural political stuff because he's a history teacher. So like this is
Right.
he's deeply ingrained in the
Right.
Constitution, the structure, all that stuff is going to go. So he's really good insight and like I don't ever have to explain anything to him. You know, he's
Right.
like if anything, he's teaching me shit that I'm like, oh fucking thank you. Now I understand. And to hear him talk about junior high kids and like the way, especially post COVID, like coming back and stuff like that,
Man.
I'm like, fuck that, dude. That sounds like a horrific thing. Like
Man,
he just.
I'm telling you, these kids, man.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about this, right? Because we're talking a little bit about your jobs and stuff like that. We'll go back to the support structure
Yeah.
thing because I do want to talk about that, but this is natural. So after you got fired from being a bus driver, you took some time off work, right? Because you broke your leg. That's
Yeah, I
in this-
shattered it from like you can see the scars. I
Just the
shattered
whole
it from
shit,
like the
huh?
whole shin.
Oh
It
yeah,
just
all this shit.
shattered
Okay,
it,
down
yeah.
here, yeah.
Scars here, scars here. I had to have 2 surgeries. There's
Goddamn.
a bone in there. Yeah, so I was off my leg for like over a little over a year.
You have some hardware in there, some plates and stuff like that?
Just one. I have a metal rod that goes down the front like that.
Goddamn.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're like, you can get it taken out, and I'm like, all right, maybe at some point.
Yeah,
Eventually,
fuck it,
I don't
bro.
know, but
Yeah, it's like a little bit of Wolverine in there.
right, that's what I'm saying. A little
Keep that shit.
adamantium. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not tripping.
Right. So after you had your recovery, what did you do after that?
So what now? It's kind of ironic. I think this is like the most most ironic thing I've ever done in my life. Now I'm a driver's ed teacher.
This was your first job that you had after from being a bus driver?
After getting into a bus crash,
That
after
is
crashing
awesome.
a bus.
How did you get into this job? What are the qualifications for having
So
this
you
job?
have to get certified and everything
Okay.
through the state.
So there was
Obviously,
more
Washington
classes
State.
you had to
yeah,
take.
it's very it's very official because
Okay.
I can do I test people like for their licenses and stuff too. So like basically like I do what the people at the DOL do,
Yeah.
just without the paperwork part.
Right.
Without
Do you
all the
work for
paperwork and
like
stuff.
a
So like
private company?
yeah, I work for Defensive Driving School.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the 3 locations. They have to shout out to Defensive Driving School if you have anyone who needs to get their license.
For sure.
Send them to us.
I think that's who I went through. I did it in.
Yeah.
I think maybe I just did it through the DOL. I don't remember because I didn't take driver's ed. I just tested.
Oh,
And
right,
they,
right,
they
right.
did you
Yeah,
like at
you
different
probably did it at
places,
the
you know.
DOL because I don't think
Yeah.
they were letting schools test at the time. I
Okay.
don't remember. Yeah.
I didn't get it till like right after high school. I rode dirty all through high school. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime I get a car, I just drove the whole time. The only tickets I've ever gotten are for driving without a license. I got 2 of them almost back to back.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And since I got my license, I've been fucking clean.
Right?
Been
Funny how
worse
that works.
shit.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, even
Right.
worse shit since then.
Right.
And I'm like, how
Funny
have I
how
not
that
been pulled over?
works.
How did I get home? How did I not get pulled over? Yeah,
Right.
bad shit, dude. Horrible. So, okay, so you're doing. That's absolutely hilarious.
Right?
That is what you're doing now.
Every time I tell people, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, so how did
Yeah.
you get into this gig? How did this get into your mind? Who
I
brought this to
literally
your
just
attention?
like applied. I saw it online. I applied, and I was like, yeah, like my favorite part about my last job was working with the kids. So if
Yeah.
I can continue to work with the youth, like that'd be cool. So
Right.
and it's mostly teenagers, obviously, and so because I teach the class and stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I applied, and I was just like, that was kind of the things. Like in my interview, that's kind of one of the things I was banking on. I was like, I really love working with young people.
Right.
Like I think they find me. I don't know, like I always.
You're fucking
seem
cool.
to have
You're
right,
cool.
right,
That's
yeah.
you're just you're fucking cool.
Without
you
saying
know?
that
Yeah.
it like that, I was just like, yeah. I mean, I always connect really well with kids. It's like really easy for me to connect
Right.
with them and stuff like that. And so
You dress
yeah, they
cool,
were
you
like-
talk cool, you listen to cool music, you just do cool shit.
I
Like,
listen to the
that's-
music they listen to.
Yeah.
I know what's up and like you know what I mean. Because I work because like it really is like it's technically part time. Like my boss is amazing and they try their best to give me like a full schedule.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to, I really could, because like they, I probably could work more, especially in the summer. But so yeah, they get me as close to full time as possible, which is I'm pretty close to it right now, especially. Where was I going with that?
Working with the kids, just being cool, relating to the children. Is what
Oh
we're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about,
yeah. It's as close to full time as possible. So I was just kind of
Yeah.
like, cool, yeah, like let me try this. Oh, that's what I was saying, because it's really like a part time thing. It's like a
Right,
retiree
right.
job, and so all the dudes I work with are like
They're
old
old.
retired dudes.
Right.
Yeah, most of them. At least the ones at my location.
Yeah.
It's a couple of like old retired dudes, and so like that's kind of the atmosphere there. And so I'm the one instructor where they're like, oh, Mr. Mackay is the cool instructor. He's the young, cool
Right.
instructor, right? It was the same way when I was driving school buses, because like, what did your school bus driver look like, right? Like,
The first one was an older woman named Rocky.
right.
Yeah.
So
and
yeah,
then-
it's usually
right.
older women.
We had the Australian woman for a while. I don't know if you ever had her. When we were
I don't know
like,
if I had her.
Yeah, in junior high, just for maybe like a year or two, I had an Australian woman, and that was really fucking
That's
cool.
crazy.
But yeah, she was cool to talk to.
Yeah.
And then I don't even remember in high
That's
school,
what I'm
honestly.
saying. It's just like older people, and that's like
Yeah.
what the kids deal with. So like even when I was at the school bus or the school district, it was kind of like they're like, yeah, Mr. McKay's the young cool bus driver.
Right.
And like it's funny too, because now like I was at the school. That was when I was training for that. When I did that when I came to record with you? That was like 2017 or something?
Probably. I think we're on like 6 years of this, so like 2018 maybe.
2018,
Yeah, because that was
that's
pretty
about
early.
the time. Yeah, no, that's about the time I got hired for the school district.
'cause we
so I
were-
had kids there who were in like who were in like fourth, fifth, sixth grade, rode my bus, and now I'm seeing them at the drive school.
Oh, that's
They're getting
fucking
their
weird.
licenses. Yeah, every now
That's
and then I
weird.
see a kid and they're like, "Did you used to drive school buses?" I'm like, "Yep, yep." And I'm like, "You look familiar too."
That's
And then
so
they'll tell me who
funny.
they are, and they're like, "Yeah, I rode your bus. I went to this school," and I'm like, "Blah blah blah." I'm like, "Man, that's crazy. That's so
fucking
wild."
funny.
And so like, yeah, like even like watching some of those kids go from that to this,
Right.
it's just like, what the heck? Like, it's weird, man. It's weird. But yeah, so I don't know. I relate really easy to the kids, and
Yeah.
so I was just like, yeah, let me try it out. And then my boss liked me, I guess, and they hired me, and then they trained me up and everything. So, you know, I had to do some training and watch some videos, and then I had to retest for my license.
Oh, really?
Not my license. I had to test for my certification.
Yeah.
But you basically have to take a knowledge and skills test, just like when someone's trying to get their license.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was funny, but you have to get a higher score
Right.
on both. And with the knowledge test, there's like extra questions because you have examiner questions.
Right.
Yeah, stuff that they don't have on the other one, and so you have to learn that stuff too.
So you do the
And so,
classes
yeah.
and then you do the drives also?
Classes and drives,
Yeah.
yeah. I mostly do the Zoom class.
They have both in-person and
Yeah,
Zoom
they have
classes?
in person and Zoom. They said they started the Zoom for COVID and stuff like that, obviously.
And
And
now
then
they're
I
just
think
hanging on to
also the state got really heavy into. That's when they really started letting third parties like test people.
Yeah.
I think they were like doing it for a while, but like they've kind of like the DOL themselves have kind of like diverted a little bit from testing people. It seems like because we get like a lot of people come to us, and then it's like less common to test at the,
There's so
at
much
the
other
actual
shit.
DOL now.
There's so much other shit you have to do with the DOL. Like
Right.
all the other licenses and bullshit that you
Yeah,
have to
they
get.
have
there,
so
but,
much
like,
other stuff to deal with. I feel
why
like I
would you
think they
waste
were like,
time?
yeah, if we can just
Right.
send this to these guys and they can. So a lot of the driving schools just do it themselves now.
Do you feel like, because I just feel like I can already hear old people listening to this episode and being like, now they're teaching kids to drive online. Do you feel like they're paying attention? Like, do you feel like they're probably paying more attention to you than to the other Zoom instructors? But like, do you feel like it's
Right.
an adequate way to
I think
teach kids how to drive? They still do the drives, you know.
they
but,
start to do the drives,
Right.
which is where you really learn to drive.
Right.
Is in the car.
Right.
Like even in the classroom stuff, like we're basically like I feel like at least with our program, like a lot of it is trying to scare them into being safe drivers.
Yeah.
Honestly, because we watch a lot of videos of like accidents and crashes. And
As
there's
you
a lot
should.
of videos.
People
And-
drive like assholes.
and yeah,
just
yeah,
in general.
no, as we should. And we get parents that are like, I feel like some of the videos are too like brutal, or they're too like, you're gonna scare the kids. And it's like,
No.
that's the point. And not only
Yeah.
that, most of the videos we show, we're required to show by the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only do so much out of like the way the program is designed by the school. Everything else is like pretty much everything we do is like required for us to do by the state.
Right.
So it's like we're not like hand picking a lot of these videos. Like some of them are like added to the class for like entertainment value and stuff like that.
Right.
And some of them are like, but like for the most part, it's like no, like we have to show them this.
And
And-
we went through similar stuff. Like certainly if you took driver's ed, then you watched this shit, right? And then when we were in high school, like they did like the whole week, you know, where they're talking about people being like drunk driving and stuff
and then
like
we
that.
had
and, like,
mad.
yeah, there's like
mad
a whole
assemblies.
deal, right?
Yeah.
And we still knew people that like
Personally knew people. Yeah, I tell the
that-
kids all the time. Like I
right.
feel like every class has it.
Right.
When we get to the session that's about drinking and driving and drugs
Yeah.
and driving, impaired driving, and it gets really that session gets pretty heavy.
Right.
But also like, I always have students who go in and they're like, yeah, just last year we had a kid who was speeding around this corner. And they crashed and killed 3 other students that were in the car with them. And I'm like, yeah, something very similar happened when I was in school. Like
Right.
it happens
Right.
to every class.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And it seems like I'm not a huge advocate for like there's a lot of shit that I feel like you can't force kids because they're going to reject it, you know. But with this, I
Right.
don't know how else you do it, you know, other than fucking scare them, and like, because they're not good. They're just inherently not going to listen, like,
Right.
to anything, you know.
Yeah.
So
especially teenagers.
but when it's such a literally a life or death thing that is like so instant, you know, because car accidents have such a people die in car accidents all of the fucking
All the
time,
time.
you know, and it's
All
just
the
such a
time.
quick switch. And so I don't like, you know, how else do you drive home that if you are not careful, you could die, and it's not even because of your own deal, but because other people also are not being careful.
Right.
You know, like
right. It's not just you; it's them
Yes,
too.
the
And
social aspect
This is
is-
why we teach defensive driving. Like you're
Yeah.
protecting yourself.
Jordan talks about that. Anytime I get road rage, talk about other people, we talk about like it's a social thing. You know, driving is a social thing. Like you're literally
Yeah.
interacting with everybody else on the road. You're
100%.
interacting with them. You know,
100%.
they're not just like objects in your way.
They're
like
not in
they're
your way.
all other people doing shit.
They're going
like,
places too.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have families to get home to. So
I
like,
remember it was like we were still in high school, so I maybe it was like 16 or 17, and Trenton and I ate a bunch of mushrooms together, and then we went down to the Chevron by Walmart in East Bremerton, and we were super fucked up, so we just parked there and like sat in the bed of his truck for like fucking 5 hours and just watched people like get gas and shit and just like do their lives. And I remember that was the first time that I was watching people and I was like, oh fuck, they're all living lives. Like they're not
Yeah.
just taking up space in my
Yeah.
life. Like they're not just NPCs
Right.
that are like doing
right.
things.
It's that
They're-
main character energy.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
like
they're
man, like
all doing something.
I understand that to an extent, but like you gotta realize
Right.
everyone else.
Right.
Like I truly believe everyone is the main character of their own story.
For sure.
And not that like as you should be, but like not that needs to be your mentality because
Yeah.
you should be aware of other people and like they're living their lives too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like like I used to have the that's funny because like I didn't realize that like main character mindset was a thing until later, obviously, because a lot of people talk about it a lot more now.
Yeah.
But like when I was really young, especially like after watching The Matrix and stuff, and like you know what I mean, like I would have thoughts of like I would think like, does something exist until I see it, or does it not exist until I see it? Right? Like when this person leaves my view, do they no longer exist?
Are they even there?
Right, like are they
Yeah.
actually people? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I would like random thoughts like that, and of course I'd be
Totally.
like, no, like they're alive too.
Yeah.
Like you know, but there was always that like small thought in the back of my mind. Like it reminds me of like Coraline. You see
Yeah.
Coraline, right?
Yeah.
I remember when she's in the other mother's world and
Yep.
she tries to walk away from the house.
Yes.
And it like disappears,
Yeah.
and then she walks so far and it reappears. It's like
Yeah.
that. It's like, does it disappear when I'm not there,
Right.
or is it like still there? But it's like no, these people are millions of people living their lives.
Yeah.
Like, it's like billions. Like it's like it's a crazy way to think, but at the same time, it's just like one of
It's
those
so
things
easy to
that
slip out of though.
It's so easy
to
Yeah,
not.
it's so easy to get so focused on yourself to be
Yeah.
like,
For them to just be obstacles, you know, for other people to
especially when you're driving.
Yeah, exactly.
when you're driving.
Especially when you're driving, yeah.
You're like, you're in the way, bro. You're trying to
Right.
get somewhere, and that's like your only goal is like, I'm trying to get to this place on time. I need to get to
Yeah.
work. Getting to work is like the number one thing. And it is, we teach that lesson, when we teach the lesson about aggressive driving, it's like this police, when they pull people over, their number one excuse for when they're driving aggressively is, I'm late somewhere.
late to
That's
work.
the number one
Yeah.
excuse. Work or like picking up their kids
Right.
or whatever the case is, like the number one excuse is always, I'm late.
That's so crazy.
That's it. That's like the number one excuse they get.
That's
Why are you
crazy.
swerving in and out of the lanes? I'm late. Why are you tailgating people? I'm late. Why are you know what I mean? I'm late to pick up my kids. I'm late to get to work. I'm late
Right.
to. And so it's like
Just because your shit's more important than everybody
your
else's
shit's
shit.
more important than this person's safety, which is a crazy way to think. Like you're obviously
Yes.
not thinking about it that way,
Right.
But like that's how you're acting when you drive this way.
And it's like it's almost weird because when you talk about driving in these terms, like people are like, oh, it's not that serious, or like, but it is though.
Right,
Like that's
it's not
the
that
thing. Like,
serious.
and I don't. The thing that irritates me about this particular aspect of driving is like that when people are doing that, they're making decisions for me. You know, and I'm not okay with that. Like when you choose to drive unsafely, that removes choices for me. You know,
Yeah,
if you do
right.
something and then I get into a car accident, or like if you're a fucking,
Right.
if you're on a fucking bicycle, you know what I'm saying, and you're riding on the line, like, and if something happens and I hit you, like, you've made a choice for me now. That, like, I didn't do that. You know, I didn't want to do this, and now I have to live with the fact that I hit somebody on a fucking bike because you want to fuck around. Like, you know, I drove a big ass truck. If you want to pull in front of me and I hit you, you could die, and now I have to live with the fact that I killed somebody
on the road
because you made that choice
you just
for
ran
me.
out in front of me.
And that's fucked up. Like, as weird as that
crazy.
sounds, like, that sounds kind of self-centered in the way that it, like, I can, but it's a choice thing. Like, I don't, you don't get to make that choice for me.
And I get that,
know?
you don't like to have your choices taken away, which is, it's valid. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, that's very valid. So it's hard. That's why we're teaching the kids, like, be as defensive as possible. Always assume, as I tell the kids, always assume everyone else is going to do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
When you're driving. Assume they're going to do it the wrong way.
Right.
If you see someone, you're going on a road and you have right of way and you see someone trying to pull out of that driveway, assume they're going to cut you off.
They're going to do it.
Assume they're going to go out in front of you.
Yeah.
Just assume it, because then that way you're prepared. Because like, you know what I mean?
That's really smart.
Like, assume, that's like the basis. That's like the most simple way I can put defensive driving in one phrase, is like, assume everyone else is going to do it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, learn to do it the right way, and then assume everyone else is going to do it the wrong way.
Right, which I think is extra good, because there's a ton of people like me. Like, I never took driver's ed, you know, so there's a lot of like little rules and shit.
There's a lot of people
I don't
out there
fucking
who
know,
don't,
you know.
too.
I just started driving. I just got in a car and just started driving one day.
You're like, I studied enough to pass the knowledge test.
Totally.
And that was it.
Yes.
Like, I don't know all the little nuanced rules of the.
No, I had to do my drive twice, because the first time I was like too relaxed, because I had been driving for fucking 4 years. You know, by the time I was 19.
So you're just doing stuff bad habits already picked up.
one hand. There's all kinds of shit that I'm not paying attention to.
Right.
Like, I called out at the end. He's like, you didn't look here. Like, you're driving with one hand. Like, you didn't do
you're
this.
not
And
looking over
like,
your shoulder.
like,
You're driving with one hand.
and in my mind, I'm like, but nothing happened. Like, everything was fine, you know. But that's not fucking. That's not safe.
Like, you can get from A to B, but were you safe the entire time
Right.
you did it?
Right.
Yeah, no, literally. That's like what I'm telling people all the time. They're like, well, my dad does it like this. I'm like, how long has your dad been driving?
Right.
Well, he's 70. He's 55.
Like, exactly.
Okay, so he's probably been driving since he was about 16. He's been driving for about 40 years. He's probably picked up some bad habits along the way. Like, you don't just do what your dad does.
No,
okay?
there's so much shit. Like,
all the time. Like,
horrible.
well, my dad doesn't stop at the stop sign. Like, okay.
right.
And I'm telling you that if you want to pass your driving test, you need to stop at the stop sign.
And yeah, that's so fucking funny. And it's an interesting, like,
it's so crazy.
The way that people's parents choose to act, you know, and like the way they choose to interact with their children is like, I can't speak for how your dad wants to do shit, you know. I can only tell you how you should do stuff, you know. So that's like, you know, there's all kinds of social and political views that I have that, like, I would, you know, ingrain in my children. That's like, you can't bring this to someone else though, because they're not gonna.
Yeah, you
like,
can't take this everywhere.
Yeah, they're like, there's a difference between, you know, I have the right to do what I want, and like, also I could get a DUI for having one beer. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like I think, like, as a fucking almost 30-year-old, should I be able to have one beer while I'm driving? Totally.
Right.
But this is a rule that, like, when you start to take these steps, it gets hairy really quickly.
It gets hairy really quickly.
Can't,
right.
This is not a rule we can explain to everybody. You know?
Right.
Just because I can have one beer and drive doesn't mean that guy or any of those people.
Just because you're responsible enough, and you're
Yes.
responsible enough to keep it to one beer, like, I'm just gonna have this beer while I'm driving.
Right.
Because a beer doesn't, you know what I mean? Especially if you're like a Rainier or like a Coors Light, like that's not going to do anything to you. Especially a guy like you or me at our size and our, you know what I mean, like our body style, like that's not gonna do anything to you. So being able to chill on a summer day with your windows down, have a cold beer while you're driving. Sounds cool.
Right.
But like some people, you know what I mean?
Right.
You start putting that kind of law into effect, and then it just spirals from there. So like, it's like, I understand why we have these laws.
Totally.
And it's kind of similar when you're explaining it to the teens. It's like, yes, this law may be silly.
Right.
It seems silly, but like, that's what it is. Like, just because, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't, you know what I mean? Like, there's a line, right? So when you go past it, then it just gets, you know, people take liberties. So it's like, if you stop it here, then we have less issues than we may have.
Right.
Whereas if the line was here, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
especially with driving, you know, I'm not, in general, I'm a fan of like as few rules as possible. You know, like I think like if we can reach a social level, like people, if we can reach a higher social level and where we're discussing things,
Yeah,
then there's
everyone's
less
kind of in agreement about the way
less
this thing should
rules
work.
that are necessary that need to be on the books. You know?
Yeah.
As far as driving goes, like I'm a huge proponent of traffic laws because it's just so fucking dangerous. You know,
Yeah.
people just do dumb
Mad
stuff.
dangerous.
Like,
People
they
do dumb stuff when they're in the car.
Just things that are
Regardless
not
of the
fucking-
laws we already have in
yes,
place,
they
people
just
do dumb things
that
while they're in
aren't
the car.
safe. So, like, yeah, I'm just in general not a fan of laws, but like, it's just so fucking dangerous to drive.
Yeah.
You know. And especially like with kids and stuff, you know. So like having kids in there,
That's
like
what I'm
I
saying.
just don't.
Having my daughter in the back seat is like, don't
Right.
do this around me.
I
don't do that around me.
do this. Yeah, I don't like it. So,
I
yeah,
don't like that at all. Yeah.
people just do bad stuff.
No,
just shit that isn't safe.
driving. That's the thing about driving too. Is driving a vehicle is one of the most. It's not one of the most. It's probably the most dangerous thing that pretty much everyone is allowed to
All the
take
time.
part in.
Right.
And they do it all the time.
Right.
That's the thing too. And we talk about that in class too, about where people are like, now I feel like I'm working, but we talk about that in class where people are like, I forget the term for it, but it's basically when we start talking about distracted driving,
Yeah.
right? Like being on your phone, sending a quick text,
It's
messaging.
horrible.
It's horrible. But in reality, it's very hard not to do.
Right.
Because not, you know, the way our society works today and the way everyone's on their phones all the time, like all that.
Music
you get into all that.
and maps, fucking.
Right. You get into all that. But then the issue also, too, is like when you do, you become numb to it.
Totally.
Because when you do something all the time and there's never any negative consequence for it, then it feels like it's okay.
I've seen.
Right. But we have to tell the students it only takes one time.
Yes.
Because, like, yes, you see people do this all the time. And people do it all the time because it's like, I drive from home to work, work to home. I do it every day. I use my phone every day. Nothing has ever happened.
Right.
So nothing's probably ever going to happen.
Right.
But it only takes the one time.
When you see people
You know what
driving
I mean?
shitty all
So
the
it's like-
time, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's because he's fucking on his phone. He's
Right.
just not looking at what he's doing.
He's not paying attention.
Right,
Right.
right.
But they're thinking, okay, I got from here to here safely.
Yes.
And I do it all the time. So,
I've seen more than one person reading a book while they're
which is the
driving.
craziest one to me. That's as far as being able to do something like distracted while you're driving. That's probably the craziest one.
It's so crazy. It like brings me to tears because like makes me laugh. Like it's in. I can't believe I've seen more.
Reading a
than
book,
one
it
person.
has to be worse than texting and driving.
Oh, totally. Like I saw a woman with it on her steering wheel, and she's driving. Like I
Has
know
to be worse than
it
texting
doesn't
and
matter
driving.
that it's here. Like I don't
Because
care how close.
you're reading.
You're reading, dog. You're not even paying attention.
Reading and
You're-
reading a quick text is different than like reading a paragraph. You're reading.
Your brain's in a different world. You're
That's the
escaping
point of
to
a
another
book.
world.
That's the point of a book.
Yes.
You're escaping.
You're
it's
not even in
escapism.
your car.
You're that's
Yes.
no, that's
you have literally
crazy.
let Jesus take the wheel.
reading.
You're not here.
Reading and someone said there's a video or something too about someone mentioned something about in one of our videos the students because they're like asking like college kids or something like what's the craziest thing you've done while driving or something and they're like one of them said they had a deadline they completed an essay while they were on the road.
Jeez.
It's like, dude, crazy.
We used to smoke and drive all the time, right? Like
Right.
when I learned to drive like for my sister and her friends, and one of their pivotal lessons was you needed to be able to hit a bong while you were driving. Like you had to be
That's
able to
so
do both, you know.
crazy.
That was like a pivotal
That's
lesson
so
as I'm
crazy.
learning to drive. And then like yeah, I've done all kinds of drugs and shit while I'm driving and stuff, and you know, Rodan and stuff like that, and like just shit that's like all kinds of young stuff that you don't think about at the time, and then you
Don't
know
think
you
about
think
it.
about it later, and you're like, you
You're
just
like, that
could
was
fucking
extremely
die in
fucking
5
damn,
seconds.
That was
You
so
know?
stupid.
Yeah, seeing crazy
So
people do crazy
stupid.
stuff. Daniel. Actually, I'm gonna write this down so I can take his name out because it's an embarrassing story about him. Right when we got out of high school, he dated a gal that like. I don't remember if she moved to Virginia or if she lived there or whatever, but he ended up moving to Virginia for a while, and then he moved back and he drove back by himself, and he got like crazy bored, so he stops at a sex shop on the way there and bought a fucking pocket pussy so that he could fuck the pocket pussy and watch porn while he's driving because he's getting so bored. Yes.
It's so wild.
Yes, bro. Like, what the fuck are we doing,
That
dog?
might be the most wild
Yes.
thing I've heard
Yes.
somebody doing while driving.
Yeah.
The
Stop.
craziest thing I've seen someone doing while driving is rolling up.
rolling a joint while they were driving.
Yeah, and it was only so crazy because the dude was driving with his knees, and we were on, and we were on the freeway. We were on the freeway, and like the big freeway, because we were headed either to Portland or back from Portland. So we were like on 5, and this dude, I look over, and this dude's like this, like licking, like, and he's chilling too. He's just like, I look over and I'm just like, bro, what? That's probably the craziest thing I've like witnessed someone doing while driving. Yeah,
that's
that
crazy.
Was so crazy. In the little car, he's just like rolling. He's just like, I'm just like, damn, that's wild. Yeah, I'm sure he smoked it after that.
Oh, I bet. Why wouldn't you? Yeah,
rolling, smoking, and driving. If you're rolling and driving, you're smoking and driving.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy.
I've never seen somebody roll while they're driving. Like I've been, in plenty of cars, like in the passenger seat, rolling while someone's driving, like that type of thing. But never. I lost a blunt out a window one time, like all the weed just out there. Like we had to open a little bit and just like the gust right through the window.
Right, caught it. Just caught it.
Just blew it. Like it didn't all go out, but blew it all out of the fucking wrap, and then like parts of it got out the window, and then it's on the floor. And you're like, fuck, I gotta grind new weed now. Like I had more weed. Like I just wasted a whole fucking blunt now. It's all over the fucking car. It's fucking
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I ever actually answered the question. The guy, so like online teaching.
Oh, right.
Teaching driving online, because people, we get that all the time. They're like, dang, they teach drivers that online.
Right.
Now. And it's like, yeah, you learn to drive your car. And not only that, we tell the students too, and we try to tell the parents this, they don't learn, your kid's not going to learn to drive with us.
Right.
Because we're required to give them 6 hours in the car. 1 hour they do an observation, watch another kid drive. The other 5 is their 5 drives.
Like
right?
6 hours is nothing.
You're not going to learn to drive in 6 hours. You're not going to learn to drive in 5 hours of behind the wheel time. They're going to learn to drive with you as the parent. So you need to like make sure they're doing it the right way and not the way you drive, for one, and two, that's where they're really going to learn to drive. So like, I mean, the online, I do think like the in-person class is better as far as like for the classroom stuff. I do think the in-person is a little bit better. It's a little more personal and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, kids are doing it on Zoom. Like, you know for a fact that some of them are just not paying attention half the time and stuff like that. So, and then we get a lot more kids fail out on Zoom, obviously, because they can only, in all these, parents get mad at us, but like all the policies we have are mandated by the state. Like it's all state required. So like, if a kid misses more than 3 of the classes, right, or they're not they don't get counted for attendance for more than 3 of the classes, they have to restart the whole course. And so that happens way more on Zoom than it does in person for obvious reasons.
Because the kids just don't log into Zoom and they just don't think about it.
They don't log in. They log in too late because they have to have, because the classes are 2 hours. Okay, you can't miss any more than 10 minutes.
Okay.
Right. So because with drive time, it's the 6 hours of in the car instruction, and with classroom time, that's also mandated. So you can only miss so much classroom time.
Right.
So if you miss more than 10 minutes of a session, you won't be counted for that session. And so they just show up a little late for the Zoom, or they're not paying attention, and then I have to kick them out of the Zoom, because there are ways to see if some of the students are paying attention. We do like hand checks and all that kind of stuff. You raise your hand on the Zoom or whatever, and I lower them. If a kid's not paying attention, I kick him out of the class. If he doesn't come back in 10 minutes, then he doesn't get credit for that class. So it's like, that happens way more on Zoom than it does in person for obvious reasons. In person, you show up, you stay, you get counted for class. Like, you participate, but...
Do they have to pay for the course again if they have to restart it?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, but I think there's like a discount for having to do it the second time or something. But
which is probably what they're irritated about. You should have make your kids be responsible if they have to. Kids
be responsible. That's how our boss sees it. We're like, they're getting to that age. They're about to start driving.
Right.
You're about to hand them a license and some keys. So a little bit of responsibility on their part would probably be a good thing to start getting into their system now too. So
especially like if you're in school, you should be able to show up on time, because if you're gonna drive to school, you gotta get to school on time.
You gotta get to class on time.
Right,
like,
you have to be there.
Yeah.
certainly wouldn't be pleased if I had gotten my kid a car and a license for them to be late to school every fucking day.
Right.
You know,
Like you can get yourself. What's happening?
Yeah.
You can get yourself there.
Leave 20 minutes earlier.
Right.
This is
Leave
not my
earlier.
problem. Right.
Like so,
The
yeah.
buses, the traffic, fucking leave earlier, bro.
Leave earlier.
Yeah, don't
Leave
care.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yep. Literally. So yeah. So I think it's. But I mean, it obviously has its benefits too. I think it has its pros and cons. It's nice. It's really nice. My favorite thing about it is like we're able to, because apparently like up in the like Port Townsend area, you know, apparently they had like a drive school there. They had 2 drive schools or something. One of them shut down, and the other one is like only open certain days of the week or something. Like it's very hard for students in that general area to do all this stuff.
Weird.
So a lot of our online kids are like Port Townsend, like up that area, like
They have to go out to
yeah,
where
they're
you
coming
are to
from
drive.
Chimacum and Port Townsend. Yeah, they have to drive down to Paulsbo to do their drives. Yeah, it's terrible.
An hour across the bridge.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
They have to drive down to Paulsbo to do their drives and
That's
all
horrible.
that. Yeah, and then for some of them, like the bridge will close because of submarines going through or whatever,
Hell yeah.
and then they get stuck and then they're late and then they have to reschedule, and so it's a whole thing. But it is nice that we have the resource for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can do the online class and never have to. They don't have to. You know, they don't have to come to Paulsville every day to come
Right.
to a 2-hour class after school or whatever.
Yeah,
And
that would suck.
yeah, it would be a whole thing. So, yeah, it's cool that they can still. So they come down for drives and stuff, and I look at their student IDs. I'm like, dang, you came from Chimp. I'm like, yeah.
So you've only been
drive
doing this
school.
for a little while then.
Yeah, about a year now.
Okay.
Yeah, about this time last year. They
And
hired me
you-
about this time last
You
year.
like this so far?
Yeah, I like it. I
Yeah.
like it a lot. Yeah, well, like I said, I like working with the youth. I'm kind of hoping like my next step will be like some kind of like maybe like an actual teacher in a school,
Yeah.
like a high school or something. Because I like working with the teens. Like they're a handful, and the teen culture right now is like it's crazy, as I'm sure Josh was telling you. But like
Yes.
yeah,
You should talk to him.
I do like it, but yeah.
He's a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
Josh Keaton. He's super interesting.
I remember, yeah, I used to,
Crazy
yeah.
fucking smart. You know?
Yeah.
Crazy smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I
he's
should talk to Josh. It's
he's a
been a while.
super interesting cat. He's got a wife too. I think we went to school with her. I don't know her, but I don't know. There's a lot of people that Jordan was like. Do you remember this person? Like, no, I don't. And I especially later half high
I'm
school.
bad
I
at
didn't.
remembering
Yeah, I
people
didn't
too.
like spend any time in high school in the last half. You know, like
Yeah.
after I came back from suspension, I spent like half a year in high school and then started doing Running Star and did that for the last year and a half
Yeah.
in high school. So I spent no time in high school.
Right. You're like,
So,
no,
Yeah,
I don't.
if we weren't friends when we started high school, I probably don't know you. I probably just don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Do you have an associate's degree?
No, not yet.
'Cause
That's the
that's-
thing. I'm like,
That's all
I
that
need
it
to go
takes
back.
to be a sub. You know,
Yeah.
to be a associate teacher is
Okay.
that I'm not like you should go to school because I'm not like a huge fucking.
yeah, I'm not
but
a huge school guy either.
No,
That's
and-
my issue is with it is I'm not because it's like
Yeah.
yeah, you should get a job. It's like well, for most of the jobs that people want to suggest you should get, you usually have to go back to school,
Right.
and, which is cool, but like I'm not.
And they also don't. But that's also like we're still in this weird. I think it's a transitionary period because I think we're getting out of it. We're still in this world where there's so many jobs that like require a degree, you know, quote unquote. But
Yeah,
they don't
but
care
you can
like
kinda-
what it's in, you know.
Right.
Because you degree in anything and it's fine. It's just a piece of paper that they need you to have so that
Right.
they can like justify paying you X amount of dollars. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not like an actual requirement for the job, you know.
Right.
And that's like why so many kids that we know went to school with that went to school and then now do nothing with their degree. You know,
Right,
they got a
yeah.
degree and has their job they have now has nothing to do with what they went to
their
school for. I
actual-
mean, how many fucking kids do we know that got degrees in like communications? you
Right.
know? Because they didn't actually know what they wanted to do, but now they have a
Right.
bachelor's degree in communications that. What are you a fucking speechwriter? Like,
Right.
what are you
What
doing
are you
now
doing
that
with
like
it?
does this?
Yeah.
If you're not on the radio, if you're not writing for somebody,
Right,
then
exactly, yeah.
what are you really doing with this?
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
who
that's
made the better
crazy.
choice here? Like,
Yeah.
I'll take my credit card debt over your fucking, you know, your school debt any fucking day.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I'll own
crazy.
that any day.
Yeah.
I've had the same job for 10 years. Like,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, it's crazy.
I work with all of the guys that work in my department, like, besides Colin, because he joined the military like right out of high school. Everybody
Yeah.
else that I work with has a degree in communications.
Really?
We all have the same job now. I've worked there for longer than most of them because I didn't fucking go to school. Like
That's crazy.
I just worked here instead. So
Yeah.
I make more money than you. I don't because I just did
Yeah,
this
it's
instead.
crazy.
Like
yeah.
I don't, you know.
No, yeah, I'm not a huge advocate
Yeah.
of school.
But if there's I only advocate it to the extent that it's like if it's in pursuit of the thing that you want, you know.
Right, yeah.
I mean, so that's
if
the only
it's,
reason
if it's particular from the start.
yeah,
then
that's
it's
the
like,
only
yeah.
reason that I mentioned that because
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
have an
yeah.
associate's degree in anything
Right,
and
yeah.
be a sub. Like
Right.
they don't care about that.
Right.
That's another thing. They just need the piece of paper. So
yeah, like if you're going to the med, if you're doing
Right.
the med programs and you're becoming, you're trying
Right.
to be a nurse, like it's like okay, yeah, like
Right.
you're doing a specific study for a specific
But if you wanted to be-
for a specific job.
But
like,
if you like wanted to pursue being a substitute teacher, you could get an associate's in like music production, that would benefit you and outside of that,
Right.
and it would still check that piece of paper to get you in the door to be a substitute teacher.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That will, kind of be a dual benefit to that.
Right, that makes a lot
and
of
that's
sense,
just an idea. I've never considered that, but
no, sub would be nice too, because that's the other thing too is I don't want to completely stop doing what I'm doing now.
Right.
It would be nice to be able to kind of like do both.
yeah.
Like a part-time type thing, since this is a part-time job
Right.
anyway, so like yeah, that actually is a good.
So let me ask you about this. It's okay if this is too personal a question. Did you get this job because you needed a job or because you wanted a job or because you said Sarai's in school, right? Is she in like preschool?
Yeah, she's
Or-
at a Montessori school, so it's like
Okay.
preschool. It's
Okay.
like, but yeah, so no, definitely needed a job.
Okay.
I mean, I needed to work, we have
Yeah.
a house and bills and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Well, I know
Definitely
like
needed
Sadie
a
works
job.
in like a fucking museum, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
she works
know-
at the Baby John Art
She's got a pretty good
Museum.
job over there.
Yeah, she's got a pretty good job there, and
Right.
they love her there. Of course, everybody loves her.
Right.
So
'Cause
yeah.
I interacted with her not after you guys got together. Like she was friends with the girl that I dated in high school.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
I interacted with her then, and then not after that because
Yeah.
we were fucking friends with
You're
this
like,
girl
right,
that I don't
right.
talk to anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I always found her very pleasant. She was very
definitely,
nice.
100%. Yeah, oh
super
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, Sadie's the best.
Yeah.
But so she has a pretty good job. But, I still, it's like at the point where like I still need to make money
Yeah.
too. So it's like, I kind of like, yeah. But, so yeah, I definitely needed a job after, losing my other job.
Yeah.
So
Just tell your mom to hook Sadie up at fucking Lockheed, and then
I know,
you
right?
can-
That's what people always ask me that too. They're like, why don't you work at Lockheed? And I'm like, I just, I don't know if that's for me.
That doesn't seem
personally.
like a Micaiah job. I
It
don't
doesn't
even,
seem
I
like
don't
a
even
Micaiah
know
job.
what your mom does.
That's what
It
I'm
doesn't
saying.
seem like a
It
Micaiah
doesn't seem
job.
like a Micaiah job.
Just
like,
what I
I don't
know
know if that's a
about-
bad thing or good or bad thing. But it
I
just
know
doesn't seem like
a
Micaiah job.
decent about the defense industries and the companies, and it just doesn't
That's
seem
what I'm like.
a,
That's
you
what
know,
I'm saying too. And then
Yeah.
a government job and all that. Like, I don't know if that's. Yeah, I just don't know if that's.
It's the
me.
right. It says Jordan's dad works at the shipyard, and he's like been a higher up for quite some time, and
Right.
he's offered me many times like I can get you a job there, like we'll get you more
Like
money. I'm
easy,
like, I don't want to do that. That sounds horrible.
No.
To work for the government sounds terrible.
It
You know,
sounds
I don't-
terrible, right?
The structure,
I feel like I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one.
No, I get it. Like I don't. And
It's the same reason I feel like I could never join the military.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like like you said, the structure of it for one is like the whole process is just like
Freedom means a lot to me in like
Same, yeah.
all aspects,
Yeah.
And that's like there was because Trenton worked in the shipyard, when he was here and stuff like that, and fucking Cody works in the shipyard, and all of our friends work in
Yeah,
the shipyard.
yeah,
80% of them,
Yeah.
and so
80% of the people we
there
know
was
in
a
the shipyard.
lot of I'm sure you experienced the same thing, frustrating times like hearing them getting raises and stuff like that, and they're like getting overtime and like making money, and like
Yeah.
I was never making as much money
Yeah.
as them, and like getting irritated.
Yeah, like I went on TDY for a month and like
Right.
came back with like $12,000 or whatever. It's like, man,
Tell them to eat shit, and then when COVID popped off, when COVID popped off and people were having to decide, do I want to do this? Do I want to quit my job? Do I want to this? Do I want to
Right.
this? They're like, oh, that's weird. My boss hasn't even fucking mentioned it.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't even a single fucking discussion about whatever I was gonna have to do, if I'm gonna lose my job, if I'm gonna anything.
Right, yeah.
And that's just one
Literally.
example, but like that was I think the biggest one, that
Oh, yeah.
clearly
Yeah,
lined
yeah.
like I have choice where I am now, and I may
Yeah.
be sacrificing a few dollars an hour.
Right.
I'm never gonna be asked to do something here that
Right.
they wouldn't do, or that is gonna like cross my
Literally.
moral boundaries. Like,
Yeah.
never
Oh, yeah.
once.
No,
you know?
100%. I've like ever since I've like kind of like personally made the decision that like the shipyard and like the like just like government in general was not the way I want to go.
Because those are the options here.
I've
Like,
only
that's-
I've only been validated since, I feel like, in like other people's examples, because like even Sadie's dad, he's been in the shipyard for like ever, and just like he should be it's very frustrating for him, and understandably, because like he should be in a much higher place than where he is now, and it's just like the way that for whatever reasons that they decide whoever they is, you know what I mean? Your higher ups or whatever.
The bureaucrats.
For whatever reason, they decide the way that they can ostracize you and just kind of like make you a black sheep and just like,
Totally.
oh yeah, this is the person. We're not, for whatever reason, he's not
Not the guy.
gonna get any further than where he is now. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that is kind of like what happened to him. And like hearing his story and like seeing all that play out, I'm just like, yeah, I would never want to have to deal with some shit like that.
Right.
And like, and then like finding job, like I've also been very fortunate with jobs. I think up to this point, because like even in the school district, obviously like ultimately you answer to the district, but my like immediate supervisor was like super cool.
Yeah.
They were super cool, and like they worked with me and trained me and all this stuff, and like even like out of my situation, like it was never like I was never made to feel like I was a bad person or like anything like super negative about what happened. You know what I mean? And I even had coworkers who like came and like obviously you can find good coworkers anywhere, but like people came and checked on me and like came to my parents' house when I was staying there because I couldn't go up my stairs and stuff at home, right? And so like
And they could have just told you that you were a piece of shit and then
right, yeah, like it was just like a whole like, oh sorry, I'm touching the mic, but it was like a whole thing. So and then like even the job I have now, like my boss is super cool.
Yeah.
So and I feel like she's genuinely like passionate about what she does, and she works very hard at like making sure our establishment's on the up and up for everything. I can feel that come through in the work and everything. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like she would never do that. Like the way that he's treated in the shipyard and the way certain people are treated, I feel like that would never happen at this job I'm at now. Like she would never stunt my growth or anyone's growth for any reason. You know what I'm saying? Like even if I came to her and was like, look, I'm looking into like becoming a teacher, so like I need to cut my hours so I can start doing schoolwork, like she would be all for it. Like we have a young lady who works in the office. She moved here from I can't remember if it's Japan or Thailand or something like that. But like they've been working with her and she's going to school and stuff while she's here too, and just like it's like super cool, like super easy to navigate anything like with them, especially schedule wise and stuff. And so like like you said, that kind of structure of that and like them being able to decide that you're not gonna, you know what I mean, you can't level up any higher than this because we don't like this about you or whatever. Like it's just I wouldn't be able to deal with that sort of work environment. That would be, man, that would feel like prison to me.
And the government thing is like really easy for that type of stuff to get just like hidden behind, you know, whatever. Some like, this is the official reason why this happened, you know, when in reality it's because the guy doesn't fucking like you or whatever, you know?
Literally.
And that's really easy for that type of stuff to happen.
Yeah, like he's applied for multiple positions, which would be technically like an upgrade on his job. Like, you know, he'd work less, get paid more.
Right.
Positions that he's, you know, overqualified for probably. Positions that he easily has earned. Yeah. And it was just like, you didn't get the job for this reason. Or we gave it to this other person for this reason. When in reality, it just seems like he's just that guy that they, you know
and
what I mean?
And I know, like, the shipyards that we have around here, like, they're some of the largest, I think, like, in the country. The ones we have here. And I know just from Jordan's dad working there, you know, just hearing him, like he worked in Japan for a couple years, and then he's been back here for like maybe 3 years. And when he came back here, he's a rigger, like all the cranes and stuff. He like runs all the cranes, and so it was to like clear out this department and like hire new people. And so that part of it is just because the way that they had chosen to hire people was so shitty. The way they had chosen to bring people up was so shitty that like all of the managers were just dog shit at their jobs. And I don't know exactly how this happens or why, you know, but it seems consistent with what you're saying, that like they're just choosing bad fucking people for whatever reason. And it sounds like it's just worse like, people at the top that are making those decisions.
It's
because
like this guy gets the job for whatever reason, and you didn't. When in reality,
So I remember when Jordan's dad came back, he's just like, I had to fire fucking 7 managers today because none of them are doing their job, and then I had to fire all these people underneath them because they're whatever. And like now I have to hire 50 fucking people to work in this department because everybody sucked. Like and they were just allowed to. I remember when Trenton worked there, he was working in the rigging department as well. He was working on the cranes, and we would just get into like arguments, Trenton and I, over his job because it would make me so fucking angry that like there are times where he's literally drinking in the shipyard. They're bringing half gallons of Crown to drink in the shipyard. They're like they're making hammocks inside of the shipping containers to like sleep in and shit because there's nothing for them to do. Like
Nothing for them to do.
There
That's
was projects there.
like half the time you hear that too. They're like, yeah, we just didn't have any work.
Yeah.
I was like,
This particular time they were cutting huge pipes, and so Trenton's job was to lift the pipe out when they were done, but their shifts were 10 hours long, and it took them between 12 and 16 hours to cut the pipe. But they're still there for 10 hours, even though they're definitely not going to finish in that 10 hours.
yeah.
Just in case they do finish in that 10 hours, they
So
got
someone's there to move the
a
pipe.
whole crew of people are there
Oh, to move the pipe.
to move the pipe just in case they're done 2 hours earlier
Knowing
than the
they're not
minimum
gonna be
time.
done.
They're never going to be done. We still have to have them there just in case they happen to finish 2 hours earlier than they would.
That's crazy.
And so they never moved the pipe. For months they're doing this project and he doesn't do anything for 9 months at a time. And he's making overtime and like
right, because he's there.
to do nothing.
He's there the same amount of time that those
do
guys are there,
nothing.
and you're making overtime, and then you're getting
Yes, because they
which
still
is like,
need you there 6 days a week just in fucking case, man.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Like I respect a good hustle, so like you know what I'm saying, get your money.
Totally.
Get your money, especially if you can get it from the government. Like get your money, but
Yeah.
like
No, yeah, we would just
yeah.
do shit. We'd be out in the town and be like, "You can pay for this." Like,
Yeah.
I'm not. You can pay for this meal. I'm not doing that. This fuck
Crazy.
you. Yeah. For wife, I have a child now. Fuck you. I'm not paying for anything when we go out together. Yeah. We've been
that's
best friends for
crazy.
long enough. You can purchase my items. I'm not. Yeah. Fuck you.
Literally.
Yeah.
You're
Like,
taking
why
me
are
out, man.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. So
That's
how do
crazy.
you? Let's talk for a second about. I don't know how much more time you have if you have like a hard out or anything like that, but
I'm good.
so we'll do like we usually do like 2 or 2.5, and we're like 140, so we'll go for a little bit longer. But let's talk for a second about like purpose, right? This is something I talked to Elijah about the last time that he was here, like finding purpose and driving to this particular thing and this pursuit of this, you know, and a lot of men try and derive purpose from their occupation, right? Their job. And
Yeah.
so this seems like that doesn't fit you because you've had a ton of different jobs,
Yeah,
right?
no.
And so if you do, because obviously not everybody identifies or like looks at things in this particular model or structure or whatever. What do you think about the idea of like having a singular purpose, like something that you're supposed to do specifically as a man, right? Because that's what we're here to talk this show about, and then how that kind of translates to your life. You know, you've kind of gone about discovering that. If you feel like you have discovered that, if you feel like you can, or does that make sense? That's kind of a broad question.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I feel like ooh, this one is I was thinking about this a little bit before I even came here too, because for me purpose is like, ooh, I don't even know where to start with this one. It's hard for me because I feel a little contradicted pretty often, because yeah, it also stems from that, like, well, you know, you should be doing something. You should be headed towards something.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's kind of like how our society views things.
Right.
Or views life in general, especially for men, like you said. So for me, it's hard because I feel, me being so chill, I'm easily pleased. You know what I mean? And it's not hard for me. Like I can see I can see myself. You know what I mean? Like, just like having a job I enjoy, like the one I have now. You know what I'm saying? Being able to like just be, you know, take care of my daughter and raise her to be a good human being, and being content with just that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, just being content. And I think people, it's like the hustle culture, you know? You always got to be doing something. You always got to be leveling up. You always got to be, it's whatever. Like, but for me personally, I just don't have that mentality. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a lack of drive or whatever, but
Yeah.
I just don't have that. And so I feel, because I feel like people are always trying to make it seem like that's not okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel, I don't really feel conflicted about it, but I feel like sometimes it's like, well, should I be finding some purpose? Should I be like should I be continuously trying to? And it's like, I get it. It's like, I get it. Life, because I feel like life is about growth, right? But at the same time, there's more than one way to grow.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I feel like I'm constantly evolving as a person. And more so for me, what I kind of like, I kind of measure my, personally, I measure not my value, but like I kind of, the thing I value the most in my life are relationships.
Okay.
Right? So it's like if I can, like the more I can feel like I can relate to someone, or the more that I feel like I can possibly help someone else, that's kind of where I'm like, oh yeah, this feels like a good thing I've done.
Yeah.
And like it feels like something that feels like an accomplishment to me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we have a really good relationship, and I can have this kind of conversation.
To build a relationship feels
yeah,
like that. Okay.
building relationships, building good relationships, and being able to have open and honest conversations and things like that.
Yeah.
Feel like more of an accomplishment to me than anything else.
Yeah.
And so, and that's a very personal thing. You know what I mean? Like that's a thing you can do without having a job at all. Like it's
Right.
a thing you can. So
You just did it right before you did this.
Right, right, literally. So it's like, yeah. So I don't know. For me, it's like I don't feel the need to have a purpose.
Yeah.
Like a singular purpose, as you
Right.
put it, right? Like I feel like my purpose right now is to be there for my daughter.
Yeah.
Like that's my number one thing. And everything else outside of that is just stuff outside of that.
Right.
For me personally. You know, so it's kind of like that's where I sit with it, the whole purpose thing. Like I don't really feel the need to have a purpose, and I don't feel like people should have to feel bad if they don't have a purpose. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like you should be able to get to a place in your life where you feel okay. Like this is okay.
Yeah.
I'm content. You know what I mean? Like this is good, and I enjoy where I'm at. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard for me to go to want to go beyond
Right.
that.
You think like
personally.
it's not complacent to be content, you know, like there's,
Right,
like there's
yeah.
nothing wrong.
I think
with-
there's a difference between complacency and being content.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a difference. I do think they're similar, because yes, but like I'm intentionally complacent.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm here because I like here.
And you're not stewing, like you're living in like growth and happiness
Living
in the thing
in the
that-
moment.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah.
It's like like you said, living in growth, literally. It's like
Right.
a plant. Like a plant doesn't move.
Right.
But it grows where it is.
I think this.
You know what I mean?
I
So,
really-
like that's kind of how I feel about it.
No, and I think that's fantastic. I really like this because just maybe 3 or 4 episodes ago, I was doing this with Colin and Brian,
Yeah.
and I was talking about this very similar thing, and I was like questioning myself, I've been having. We stopped doing the long live streams of the show.
Yeah.
I was having a really difficult time with creativity and like drive for doing that thing. Like I just felt very stuck in
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
we can get
structure
into
of it.
creativity, too.
And yes, yeah.
We can get into that.
This is just a pathway to get back to what you were saying.
Right.
And like I was just feeling very stuck in the rut and the way that we're going about it. And I felt very gross about it was like turning a thing I love into like a commodity. You know, that I just was like, I can't do this way anymore. I have to do this differently.
Right.
And so when I'm trying to figure this out, like what am I going to do next? Like how am I going to continue to like do this? Like I don't want Salt of the Streets to die. I want this to like I care about this, you know. And I was thinking about this so much, and I was having a lot of internal conflict and struggle. And I'm sitting down with Brian and Colin. I'm wondering, like, is there something wrong with me that I'm not okay with? I have a happy family, and I have a house, and I have beautiful children. Like I have a
Right.
good job. Like what is wrong with me that I can't be happy with this? Why can I
Right.
not find a level of contentment with this? Why do I have this continual fucking pull inside of me
Right.
to like do something
It's
more?
like everyone wants more.
What is wrong with me that I can't be
Right.
happy with this objectively positive thing? You know, like why am I?
Right.
And it's a question I don't necessarily have or want an answer to yet, because I think like this conversation is beautiful to illuminate that like there's nothing wrong with either one. There's nothing wrong with feeling content with a beautiful thing that you have.
Right,
There's
yeah.
also nothing wrong with like wanting more
Wanting
than that, but
more,
you
yeah.
have to be able to like meter it almost and not feel shitty about I do want more, but also this is fucking great. Like it's
Right.
okay to take a moment and like soak in that
Right.
flower, take a break in that flower that you're
Right,
talking about,
yeah.
right? Before you try and keep climbing the vine that's there. Like you don't have to keep doing that. And
Right.
I have a really exceptionally difficult time of like giving myself any type of like congratulations, you know, because like
Right, yeah.
it's
A lot
not
of people don't do that.
it's just
yeah.
on to the next. Like it's not, this success wasn't a like, oh fucking I'm so glad I did this. It's like of course I did. Now I need to continue moving on.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
and that's good for growth, you know, to growth quote unquote, because it
Yeah,
is like a
yeah,
certain
yeah.
type of growth, but also I'm never recognizing the hard work that I'm
Right.
putting into anything
Yeah,
because
giving
I just
yourself a little
keep fucking
recognition.
going,
Right.
you know. So I love that,
Yeah,
because I think that
that's what I'm saying too. For me, like you said, the thing that kind of jumped out to me is like, both are okay.
right.
So for me, it's like I'm not knocking you for wanting to do more. Like
Right.
that's cool. Congratulations. Like that's good for you. Keep going, keep going. But me, like I'm cool where I'm at.
Yeah.
At least right now, for sure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people change. Like things, you evolve. Like I said, like before, I was just like, I was cool like with the bus driver thing, right?
Right.
And I feel like maybe there was a little bit of like with my accident and stuff, like maybe there was a little fate in there because it did push me to do something different.
Yeah.
And then and then not only that, it got me in a classroom, and then like, because I'm also a little bit of like, what is meant for you is meant for you.
Yeah.
So like things will happen in your life. Like that pushed me into a classroom, which now that's when I started to think about, oh, I really like this. I'm like, maybe I'll try
Right.
to become a teacher. You know what I mean? So and that's not necessarily like, you know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily like a decision where like, okay, I need to do something different. I need to get paid more. I need to do this. I need
Right.
to do that. Right? It was just kind of like, oh yeah, I kind of like this.
So
I
Bob
think I
Ross,
might-
it's a happy accident.
Right, it was a
Yeah.
happy accident.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, my life shifted. I like something pushed me into this direction for a
Right.
reason. It seems like, so go with the flow. So that's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at. I'm like going with the flow, but it's also like I'm also cool
Yeah.
where I'm at. I don't feel bad about being where I'm at. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like even
Right.
for people, like if you like, you know what I mean? Like if you work at you know. Obviously, the example is always to go to like if you work at Burger King, right?
Right.
And you,
We
but
did
you're
the same
able
thing.
to literally. It's
When
like
I talked to
but you're-
Elijah and Colin about this, we did the
literally,
same
but
thing.
it's like you're able to if
Yeah.
you're able to pay your bills and do what you need to do,
Right.
And you're cool chilling, like you can get off work and go chill with your friends or
Right.
whatever. Like that's your life.
Right.
You should be able to feel okay doing it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
When Elijah was here, he was here for regular episodes. He was here for a long time, and we talked for a long time. And him and I were talking about this same thing about purpose and like drive and stuff. And his was creativity, right? Like music, like that was
Yeah.
his. Is like this is my purpose. Like this is what I need to be doing. Him and I are vibing. We're fucking going back and forth, like purpose and drive and fucking this show and this like we're vibing. Right? We're going back. We're vibing. Colin is in there. He's super fucking quiet. And then Elijah and I get done talking. He starts talking. He's like, yeah, I just feel bad because like I don't feel any of like what you guys got going on. And it was like I felt bad because then
Because
we
you like made him feel bad.
yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
like I have no idea. He's one of my best friends. I
Yeah.
still don't know what his purpose is. If there is a thing, like he doesn't know. And then he felt bad about that in that moment. And it's like, but just because we're vibing on this, like there's nothing wrong with that,
with
But
where you're
because
at, too,
he's
yeah.
and I'm calling if you listen, like I'm not. He doesn't know. I'm not shitting on you, But
Yeah.
like because he's unsettled with that, and especially in this room in that conversation we're having, that he's like
Yeah.
sitting here, we're fucking vibing about what our purpose is and our driving, like we're doing this,
Right.
and he's like, well, so I'm just a fucking asshole then, who's
Right.
just like, I'm just helping
couch-
you
I'm just
fucking
sitting
do
here
your
on the-
thing.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it was bad, and we've talked about that a couple times since then. It's like that really resonated with him, like
Yeah,
that because he's
I
brought it
bet,
up
man.
multiple
Yeah,
times,
it's tough.
and I'm
That's
like,
tough.
I'm so sorry that like. That happened. You're like,
Yeah.
that's never.
Like I wasn't
you
thinking
know.
about it at the time, but like,
No,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
I'm
That's
vibing
what I
with
mean.
Elijah because we're both like, yeah, fucking hustle and grow, and we're gonna fucking kill it. Like we're vibing, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's,
And that's the thing too. Even hearing other people's conversations and seeing all these videos too, and then like, cause like even with the teens, like you get into like they consume so much media, right?
Yeah.
And I know this is like a kind of a boomer thing to say or whatever, but like they consume so much media, they're seeing everything, right?
Yeah.
And so that hustle culture, like a lot of that, I feel like is really getting ingrained in them because you see all these
Totally.
videos and stuff, and like
the
for
finance
me,
bros and the manosphere and
right?
the yeah,
and even with
totally.
creativity, like if we go back to creativity, for me, you were talking about your internal battle with like, don't I feel happy with this or whatever, and I can be able to do both. Like,
Yeah.
I can want to grow and also be content.
Yes.
But it's also like my biggest internal battle right now, I think is music, right?
Yeah.
Like creativity, like creatively, like. Because it's easy to feel bad. Because like I haven't released a project in like a year or two,
Right.
maybe, right? I haven't even like, other than the stuff I've been doing with the band that I work with now. Before that, I hadn't like, well, I was working on something. So, but like outside of that, like I hadn't really like written much or touched the mic like in a while.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think, and for other creatives, I'm sure they're the same way, but it's like when you're not doing your thing that you're supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
right? You're an artist or you're a rapper, you're a painter, whatever the case is.
Right.
You start to get that feeling of like, well, what's wrong with me, right? Like why am I not, you know what I mean? Because then you see the videos, you see the, I guess it also comes down to goals, because it's like, well, do you do it because you love it? Do you do it because you want to make it? Do you do it because you want to make money? Which are all okay reasons to do it. Because like any career, you do the career to get the money. It's like, yeah, if you want to be a rapper just to make money, that's fine.
Right.
If you want to be a rapper because you love it, that's fine. If you want to do it because you want to be famous, that's also fine. Some people just want to be famous, like
you have to
whatever.
decide what success means to you.
Right, what success means to you. Because if you're doing it because you love it, then it's like that's cool, and you don't necessarily need to see the result of it, and then you also might feel like you don't need to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And so for me, it gets to the point, because when you see the videos like, well, if you love it, then you do it all the time.
Right.
If
you live this, you breathe it.
Yeah, you
yes.
live it. You
yes.
breathe hip hop. You do this. You should be always writing.
Right.
You should be always making songs. You should be always releasing stuff. And it's just kind of like,
I make 6 beats before I fucking eat breakfast.
Right,
yeah.
right. Like even when I listen to old Kanye, he's like, yeah, I used to wake up, I'd make 5 beats, right? And it's like, or he would like make 10 beats a day or whatever,
right.
and then try to get the beats out, and then like, and it's like, cool. That's how he hustled. That's how he made it to where he is. That's why
right.
he's so great. I understand all that. I get that. But at the same time, for me, again, like I said, maybe it's a lack of drive, whatever it may be, I don't feel the need to go that hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even with, I feel like, even with like, because I see I get a lot of reels of Tyler the Creator.
Love Tyler.
And I love Tyler so much. And he does so much. And
yes.
he works so hard. And he's amazing. But you see the video where he's like, you see the video where his basic idea is like, if you love something, just fucking do it. It doesn't matter if people like it. As long as you like it, that's all that matters. Yes, that's 100% how I feel.
Yeah.
But Tyler also has videos where he's like, if you make something, he has the video where he's talking about what Pharrell told him. Jimmy Iovine told Pharrell, and Pharrell told him. And he's like, you make something undeniable. You know what I mean? Then it's like, because he's like, basically, he's like, yeah, you were fucking around before. Like, you were a teen kid. You were just making music that, like, whatever.
Right.
Like, you were making fuck around music. Like, he was still great. You know what I mean? Like, he inspired a whole generation. But, like, at the same time, he was like, if you make something undeniable, then that's when you're really going to see and it's like, that's when you start going to
when you level up.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, do you want to go to that level, or is that even the route you want to take? Or is it like, so for me, that's my biggest internal struggle lately has been like, well, I'm not doing enough with my creativity. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I said, I don't know, yeah, it's hard. I'm like trying to feel like I'm trying to get back into it while also feeling like not making it something that I feel like I have to be doing.
Right.
It needs to be something that I want to do for me.
Do you feel any type of feelings, complications, anything? Because like Elijah makes music all the time, right? And you guys are in a group together still. Upper Left still exists, right? You guys just aren't like...
Yeah,
because I've asked him about this.
Together in a while.
It still exists.
Like,
I don't even know if Denzel's alive anymore.
Yeah.
But
well, Denzel's got his whole... his whole situation.
Yes,
I don't know if he's really, but still, yeah.
So like you guys the group still exists. You just haven't made anything together in a while. But like Elijah's still putting out music all the time. Like, he's still putting. So like, does that? I imagine, but I want to put any words in your mouth. Do you feel any like pressure from that? Like fuck, I should be hustling more because like Elijah's doing this because.
Oh yeah, when I see Elijah doing it, I'm definitely like, damn, it's one of those things where it's like, damn, yeah, I should be making more music too. Yeah. For sure. 100%. It's like, yeah, I should be doing more music. I should be making more music too. Which was kind of the nice thing when I started working with the band I'm with now. Because they're like... Because like...
You're jamming with these people.
Yeah, I'm jamming. I'm just jamming out. And I really just come in and like do what they need. Yeah. They're like, we need you to make some raps too. They're like, we're going to do a version of... what's the one I just wrote like 4 verses for it? They're like, we're gonna do a version of Royals, but we're gonna put raps on it. We need you to write 4/8.
Okay.
Cool. Perfect. I can do that. I can smash that out. And cause and for me too, I feel like with rap and specifically, one of my best realms is like if I have a very specific topic.
Yeah.
I'm good about writing something very specific to that
Yeah,
topic.
well, I probably text you. It's got to be close to 10 times about the places you'll go because, like, I'll
Right,
hear it and I'm
yeah,
like, this
yeah.
fucking song. Like, even if I was not a
Yeah,
part of it,
yeah.
it's. I don't know if I've told you this, but it will forever. I don't care how successful I am, how much money I make.
Right.
That will forever be one of the things I'm most proud to be a part of because it's so fucking
Yeah,
good. Because
yeah,
the
that
song
song's
is
crazy.
so fucking
That
good.
song's crazy.
It's the way
Yeah,
that
I'm very-
everything came together is so fucking beautiful.
Right, it's a very pure song, I think. Yeah,
Yes.
that's my thing. Like, if I can find a topic, and sometimes that's the hardest part is like thinking of like finding something to be writing about.
Yes.
For me, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Because it's like if I'm just making whatever songs, like it's whatever, which I can do, because then I'm like solely focused on like bars, like metaphors, like stuff
Right.
like that. But like when I can add that, take that and add it to a very specific topic,
Yeah.
it levels it up to me. Because
Right.
now I'm talking about something. Now I'm like, not only am I doing the clever shit, but it's also very specific and very niche. And if you
Yes.
get it, you get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like it kind of takes it to the next level for me. So I
98
really
3/4%.
appreciate that. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Like looking at a Dr. Seuss book and then implementing quotes from the book into the rap.
Yes.
That kind of stuff, like being that specific,
Yes.
is just like, whew, man. And I have a friend who that is her favorite childhood book. So I'm like, if she ever heard that song,
It's a great song.
yeah, shout out to
Yeah.
Jasmine. But all the places you'll go, yeah. So that, yeah, very specific to me. The specificity of it is, ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me with the band, it's like easy because like they're like, we're gonna do this song. We need you. This song is about this. Can you write some raps? Cool, easy, yeah. So I come and write raps, and then I play random percussion instruments because I can't play any actual instruments.
Yeah.
And then I do vocals, and like that's it. So it's cool, and it's like and it's very structured, so it kind of forces me to do it. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna start booking shows, so we need to practice these songs. We practice on Monday nights.
Yeah.
So I go there after work, and we rehearse, and it's just like very official. So like it's easier to be like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this. But at the same time, it's fun because
Right.
it's different. You know what I mean? So
I'm
it makes me feel like I'm not doing something because I have to do it. Like they
Yeah.
asked me to be a part of the band, and I
Yeah.
said yes. And then like they asked me, do you want to do this song? Do you want? And I'm like, oh yeah, this would be really cool if we could do this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's the creative aspect, and it's just like, I don't know, yeah. It's the team effort too. Like
Yeah.
working off of other people is always way easier than just like doing it alone. So it's like
right.
that
No.
aspect of it too. But yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, definitely. When I see live posts, I'm like, dang, that's cool. He's like doing videos and songs. I'm like, I should be doing more of that. And like, I've always had a lot of good ideas for videos and stuff too. And I've
Right.
never gotten to like do them or execute
Right there
them.
with you, man.
And so it's just like, yeah, like
Yeah.
I have the ideas. Like everyone has ideas. Like,
Right.
like for the most part, people always have ideas. But that's the part. Is like when you get to executing them, and then it's like between having the idea and executing the idea, how do you feel along the way? Like, do you feel like you're doing it because you were like, okay, well, I should be doing this. I have to do it.
Yeah.
Or are you doing it because this sounds fun? I really want to do this. It would be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
I
like,
can't even express to you like how much I'm identifying with what you're saying.
it's
Like, we're on
crazy. It's just
very,
like so
very,
hard.
Very similar creative paths right now.
Yeah, it's just so
yeah.
hard. And
Yeah.
like you said earlier, with like it feeling like monetizing it and like
Yeah.
when something, and people have said this before, obviously, but like when you're doing what you love, but it starts to become a job.
Yes. Yeah.
That's when it gets really hard.
And we were taking, I'm taking like 8-hour-long episodes and I'm running them through an AI program so that it will spit out 10 or 15 reels for me. And then I'm looking through the reels and picking which ones I think that people are going to like the best. And then I'm putting it up on the internet and like trying to like hashtags and all this type of shit, right? Like I
Yeah.
just spent 40
Yeah.
hours preparing to do this 8-hour-long thing that I've just cut into 60 seconds after feeding it to a robot. And that's what I've just done with the thing that I love.
That's
Like,
the thing too.
Fuck that, dude.
You gotta do
And-
all the annoying shit
And
too.
that's like, I'm doing this and I'm telling people like the problems I'm having. Like, yeah, that's what you got to do though, right? I'm like, but it's not
That's
though. Like,
always it.
it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be.
It doesn't
like,
have to
it doesn't
be this
need to
way.
be that way.
It
Like,
doesn't
I don't
need to be this way.
I don't
I
have
should
to
be able to do
That's-
it the way that I
Yes.
like to do it.
If I want that particular type of success, that thing of to get famous on Instagram and then to get a whatever the goal is there,
Right.
then yes, that's what I have to do. But
And
if
then-
I don't,
and then,
I
like,
don't want to
people-
be Instagram famous. That's
No,
never what I've
that's not
wanted
my
to do.
goal.
That's
Right.
I want to change people's hearts and minds. I want people to understand they have
Right.
choices and freedoms and then make better choices for themselves. Like,
Yeah.
I want to help craft a better country for
No,
us all to live in. I don't care
literally.
about fucking reels. I don't care a
Literally,
fuck
it's
about
so
likes and
hard.
shit. Like, I don't. And so like it was driving me up a wall for people to
No,
say that. Like, well, that's what
literally.
you have to do. Like, but
Yeah.
I don't though. Like, and
No.
I'm not gonna have you, who has no fucking idea what I'm doing or what my goal is,
Right.
tell me what I have to do. Like, I know,
Exactly.
fuck you.
Exactly.
I started listening to a show. It's called Red Bar Radio, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hosted by a guy named Mike David, and he's been doing this show for 20 years, and it's like an OG podcast that he does by himself, and his wife is a producer who's off screen, and he does long streams between like 7 and 10 hours on his own website, and it's like very convoluted and it's difficult to work through, and the lore behind it and like all of the jokes, it's like it's the people who are into it have been into it for years.
That's
And
crazy.
there's no process to like get you acclimated. You either fuck with it and you get down, or you don't. You know?
Yeah.
And like, I really enjoyed this guy, and he's like, I think you would really like it. He's one of the coolest fucking guys I've ever seen. He's just fucking cool. Just everything about him is fucking cool. When he streams, it's just whenever he wants. You get an email in your inbox, Red Bar's live right now. It's Wednesday night. It's
He's just
Wednesday night.
streaming.
He's streaming now. I have to
See,
go.
I love that.
And he's like, he might be on for 7 hours. Last week he did 11 hours. He started at 6 p.m. I went to work the next day and watched him finish his show. It's like, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing?
crazy.
Sometimes he streams every 4 days. Sometimes it's every 11 days. Like, there's no structure. There's
Oh,
no,
I love
just
that.
whatever the fuck
I
he
love
wants.
No structure.
It is
Oh my
the
God.
coolest fucking thing I have ever seen. And like, that's it. You know, you just have to have that. That's his thing. Is this show being fucking cool and knowing what he's talking about,
Right.
being right, saying funny shit, and just being this guy.
Yeah,
like,
that's
so
crazy.
That's what success means to him, and he's been doing it for this long. And now, just now, is he finally hitting fucking big, like getting millions of views on shit. Like, now, people are really knowing who he is.
Crazy.
It's been 2 decades now. So
crazy.
fuck you if you tell me I have to do
Literally,
something
I
one way. I'm
know.
just not like.
You said it too, because people go, "That's what you have to do."
Yeah.
And it's like that goes back to what we were saying about like which route do you want to take? What is your goal?
Right.
Like if your goal
Right.
is to be Instagram famous, if your goal is to make it to this certain level of fame, then yes, you have to do this. You have to do all the little annoying shit. You have to follow the algorithm.
Yeah.
The algorithms are like the thing now. It's
Yeah,
like if
fuck
you can
that.
do it, you just got to go through the algorithm. And algorithms and all that kind
like
of shit are
timing
not my
and
thing.
like posting at certain times and days
you have to
of the
post
week
at certain
and like
times
dude,
of the day. You have to post at certain weeks. You have to. That's like
hashtag songs. Like if you're making reels, you have to use the right
literally,
song. Like
you have
the-
to use the right song. You have to use the right hashtags.
Yeah,
For me,
no.
like that's like when you were talking about my reels and stuff. I've been doing those lately. I started doing reels because I did the first one and I thought it was funny as hell, and I
Right.
thought it was very fun.
and they're fucking great.
It was
Like-
fun. It was
Right.
so much fun to make, and like I said, I had kind of been like I don't want to say I was in a creative rut, but I just wasn't doing anything creative
Yes.
for a while.
Yeah.
So it was like it felt creative, and it was fun, and I like it's obviously not the goal, but I was
Right.
getting interactions with it, and it's it's not random people. I'm not famous, so it was just interactions with my friends. Like they were
Right.
like, haha, like this is funny, like that kind of shit's cool to me. So that felt good, and then just like being able to just like make something and post it and just like whatever. It's whatever.
Right. I don't care what happens after
I don't
this.
care what happens after this. I just made this because I thought
Yes.
it was funny and it was fun to do.
Yes.
Right? So like that's where it is with that too. Because yeah, people say that. They're like, well, you should, if you're going to post a reel, you have to post one every day in order for your reels to keep growing. And
Right.
it's like, well, I don't give a fuck
I don't
about
want to do that.
You have to post at this certain time, right? You have to put it on Instagram and you have to put it on TikTok.
Right.
You have to, and it's just like, I don't,
Right.
like, yes, maybe I will put my videos on TikTok at some point because somebody's like, you should take all your reels and put them on TikTok. I'm like, that's a good idea. Like,
Right.
I'm not opposed to it. But at the same time, like, I'm not in a rush to be like,
Right.
yeah, I need to be TikToking and Instagramming and hashtagging and using certain specific. I
got
actually go
other
out,
shit
sometimes
going
I
on.
go out of my way to use a very random song.
Yeah.
Or just like a song that I really, really like. Like, and then of course I've used Elijah's songs before. I've used
that's-
I use our songs
Yeah.
when I can. Like, if it fits the vibe or whatever, like I go out of my way to not, because like even when you start to post, like make a video or post something, obviously the first thing that pulls up, like when you hit, you know, add audio, it'll be like the most popular songs at the
Right.
time, and I like immediately I'll go to my music and search for a song first.
Yes.
Because I don't want to use the. Sometimes it's the vibe, and sometimes it's the purpose of the video.
Yeah.
Like the last one I did was I was dancing to "Not Like Us," right, and that's the thing right now, you know,
Right.
Kendrick. But I was wearing, and I only did it because I was wearing my Kendrick Lamar shirt, and I was at work, and I had a break, and I was
Fitting.
like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a video real
Yeah.
quick and use "Not Like Us." Why not? Whatever.
Right.
And so I did it because it was fun, and I thought it was funny, and like so that's where I'm at with the videos and stuff. It's not even something I'm doing to be like, hey, look at me, I'm posting videos. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to be a real guy or whatever.
Right.
Like that's not the goal. Like I
Right.
just like making the videos.
Right.
Really. Like that's it. Like
The last couple of reels I did, they were just like promotions for the last episode of SOS ID, and like I cut them myself. I went
Right.
through, I watched a video, I cut a piece out, and I
Yeah.
was like, this is a reel. It's like, but I can't, like I like this because
yeah,
I made
like this piece.
Like,
I like this part right
I
here.
chose
Yeah.
these pieces not because I'm like this is gonna get the most engagement, because this I think is a good piece of this episode that people
Yeah,
are going
exactly.
to enjoy. Like
No, literally,
I
yeah.
like this, you know.
Right.
I've had so many people the same thing asking me since we've stopped doing live stream and stuff, and like constantly like, what are you gonna do? What are you like? I'm just doing what feels right to me. Like I'm just making videos that I still care about. You know, if there's a political topic that comes up that like I actually care about, I'm gonna make a video about that, and I'll do that.
Yeah.
And if it's once a month or once every fucking 6 months or whatever, like that's
Right.
that's however
Whenever
frequent
I
it's happening. You
do
know,
it is whenever I do it.
this thing we're doing now, the SOSID, is like, I like this thing. This feels useful to me. These conversations are good. They're good for me. They're good for the people that are here. They're good for the people that are listening, because
Yeah.
there are other people that are dealing with the same thing that you and I are
Right,
dealing
they feel
with.
the same way.
Because we live in the same town and we're friends and we're dealing with the same thing and just not talking about it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
So it's like,
seriously.
this project is something I care about, and like I want to keep doing this. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I'm doing this. We've done articles, like newsletters for the Patreon for like 2 years now, and they were like political articles that we were writing about, you know, just whatever topic was happening. And like 2 months ago, I couldn't fucking write one. I just couldn't find something that I like cared
Yeah.
enough about to write about, and I found 3 paragraphs of an old short story that I started like 6 months before, and I just started working on that, and I wrote like 6 pages of a fiction story that like,
Wow,
I don't
that's
ever
cool.
write fiction. I never do anything like that, and I
Yeah.
like it's like, oh, I like this. Like
is
this
fun.
is fun. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying
yeah,
this.
no,
Like
this is
and
cool. Yeah.
Jordan's reading it. She's like, this is really good. I'm like, this is the article this month. Like this is what it's going to be from now on. Is whatever I
Whatever you
whatever I
decide
want to
to
write
do
about. That's
that
I'll give you
month.
3 pages of whatever I want. Is
Whatever
what
I
you'll
feel
get
like.
every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Whatever I want.
It might just be the rest of this fucking short story. Like I don't. But this
Literally.
is like I enjoy this. So this
Yeah.
is what you guys can have.
Literally.
You know.
Yeah.
This is what I have to offer right now. Like this,
Yeah.
as far as a creative, you know, this is what I can give you. Like this
Yeah.
is what is
That's the same
actually
thing,
coming
yeah.
from me. You
That's
know.
the
So-
same where I was at. Like that's like what inspired the reels.
Yeah.
Because I was like, the first one I did, I think I literally put on the video something like, here's the most unnecessary video possible. Because it was just like, why do we sit on our phones? Why do we watch this stuff? Why
Right.
do we? It was a video of me getting off work and walking and getting into my car. It was
Yeah.
just in starting my car.
Right.
And it's just like, here's the most unnecessary thing you didn't need to see today at all. If you watch it, cool. If you engage with it, cool. Thanks, whatever. Like,
Right.
it doesn't matter. So, like, it was literally like, that's what, and then I just kept making videos from there. So, yeah, like, it's the same. It was born from that same idea,
Yeah.
I think, of like, you know, it's whatever I want. And like that's just what it is, and I love that part about the infrequency and the guy like doing streams whenever he wants, because that's how I feel about the reels too. Because people are like, well, people don't bring this up to me.
Right.
No one talks to me about my reels. It's not that serious.
I haven't
But,
had
like,
one in 4 days, Micaiah. When's the next one?
Right. When's your next video
Right.
dropping? No one's doing that. But like, I'll
I need more
I'll just have
donkey
conversations with
voiceovers.
RJ. We'll talk about the same thing. He's like, yeah, because it's like, yeah, the influencers, like they say that, yeah,
Right.
you got to you got to do a video every day, right? Like you got to keep the algorithm, you got to keep it going and stuff like that. And it's like, and I'll just be thinking like, yeah, like even last week I was like, yeah, because I think the one other than the one I just did, I hadn't done a reel in like a while, and so it was just like I was like, man, yeah, I haven't done a reel in a while. Like, should I go out? Like, but I don't. It's not a thing I want to go out of my
Right.
way to do. I
Right.
do it when it's convenient and when I feel like doing it.
Right.
It's not a thing I want to start going out of my way to do. So like, I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, it's been a week. I haven't done a video. Cool, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like I'll do one when I want to do.
So that's when it gets out of the fun and the
the
creative.
joy.
of it,
Yeah, it's
you
when
know,
you get out of
it's-
the joy of it. It's just like you're doing it because you're following an algorithm or something that you feel like you should be doing versus something you
Yes.
want to do. Really,
first
it's just,
time-
it's really that simple. It's just like
The first time we didn't do a stream, like maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, and we like canceled it like last minute, and I had like a legit anxiety attack because I'm like I don't have anything to talk about. There's nothing going on that I care about. I have nothing to
Right.
say to anybody. I can't talk for 7 hours. Like I don't have anything to say for 7 hours, but I still felt like so beholden to like do the show.
yeah,
Or, like
because you're like, this is our schedule. This
wait,
is when
there's
we
like
do it.
fucking 9 people watching this. Like I don't, and even if there are, like I don't owe anybody anything.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't owe anyone anything.
No.
I don't have to be doing
No.
this. This is a thing that I want to do.
You
and
enjoy
like,
doing
yeah,
it when you
I
started,
shouldn't
yeah,
be
like,
feeling
you
that level
enjoy
of
doing it, so you're
pressure
doing it,
because I
yeah.
feel like I need to do it when like who fucking cares if I
Who
don't
cares?
who fucking cares
Who
if I don't want to
cares?
do that? Like I
Right, yeah.
So but it took me 2 months to get out of that like, oh my god, I need to be doing something. I'm like, wait, I don't actually. Like I
Right.
don't have to do anything.
You're like, I can actually
don't.
take a break this time.
Yeah, I don't have to. There's not,
Yeah.
you know, the only people I owe anything to are the people on Patreon who pay me money. Like that's, you give me money, so
Right,
you
you pay me
deserve the
for a
product that I
service,
promised
yeah.
you. Outside of that, I don't owe anybody
No,
anything as far as
literally,
content goes. I don't
literally.
have to
It's
do
just like, I'm
any
just
of this
doing
shit.
what I want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like, it was a weird thing to be stuck in and to have to break myself out of.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
yeah,
That's
it was
crazy.
weird.
Yeah.
No, I'm really
that's
glad
tough.
to hear that.
Yeah.
This was good.
Yeah, so that's like where I'm at
Right.
with that part of it. But I'm also, like I said, I'm not like, I'm still trying, trying to do stuff, trying to be creative here and
Yeah.
there. But yeah, it's like a fun thing. If it's fun, I'm doing it. That's like I said, what I'm doing with the band now. It's fun. I like it.
Right.
And then it's a good group of people. And yeah, and that first show we did was like really, really fun. So I'm like, yeah, let's do more of this. This is cool.
The listener that I told you about, Kevin, the guy who lost all that weight, he's got a little Instagram following. He's like always posting stuff just about his weight loss and getting
nice,
better and
yeah.
just doing shit, and so he has a deal, like a tagline that's the triangle, TRY. And his whole deal is like you just try from a different angle. If you can't succeed, you just look at it from a different angle. If you're unhappy with
Right.
where you're at, you just try from a different angle. And that's quickly become like a tagline for the show, just because
Yeah.
it's so like it applies to this, like it's the
Yeah,
creativity thing. You
definitely.
don't fucking give up. Do a different thing.
Yeah,
Try
just
from a
do
different
something
angle
else,
that
yeah.
continues to fulfill you. You know,
Right, yeah.
and I find it so applicable.
Yeah,
It's very
to
good.
like everything. That
To
sounds like it's pretty applicable to everything.
Yeah,
in
it's
life.
very, very good. Yeah, especially for someone like that. Like I say, he's still heavy. He's tons of like physical limitations and stuff like that. He's like, I can do anything. I just have to try it different. I just need to find a different way to go about it, and
Yeah.
I will find a way to do it. Like,
Yeah,
and it's so perfect.
yeah.
to try
That
everything
makes a
good.
lot of sense, man.
Yeah,
That makes a lot. The
Yeah.
triangle.
he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Kevin's a really cool guy. Yeah,
That's
I'll
cool.
send you that episode of the show because
Yeah.
his stuff was just the shit he had to say was
Yeah, that
just like,
sounds wild.
Yeah.
That sounds so wild.
yeah. Well, I think unless you have any closing thoughts or anything, we'll call this good for this episode.
Yeah, no.
Obviously, I have you back again soon. This is a very good conversation.
Yeah, I
This
enjoy
was-
coming actually and
Yeah.
talking because I always have some thoughts to get off. I know that's
Yeah.
like, I mean, I feel like there's obviously a lot of stuff that you can't get to in 2 hours. So
Yeah,
like
well,
a
and
lot of stuff to get.
we've had you back on the other show a couple of times, but it's just a different vibe. You know,
It's
it's
a
a
different
different
vibe,
structure of the
yeah,
show. It's
yeah.
different. The way that one is done is differently. You know,
Yeah.
but no, we any guests we've had on a few times, and that's I think the way to go about this. You know,
Yeah.
so no, I'll definitely. I have Elijah coming in next week actually.
Yeah.
Next Saturday he's going to come in and do one, and I think that will be a very good, especially as a contrast to this conversation talking about creativity. I'm really interested
Yeah,
to
I
like
know,
to
right?
hear about that just from the other side and kind of get his perspective on it. But no, I want to have you back on. I really wanted to have you on here the first time because I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
I respect you a ton.
Yeah.
I don't know you intimately, but I've never had a negative interaction with you.
Right.
I've never
Yeah, no,
had
same. Right,
an
of
instance
course.
to like. I've never felt like you've been deceptive with me. I've never, I only mention these things because they're so pivotal to me. Like,
Yeah.
honesty is like a cornerstone of my whole life, so I
Right.
don't interact with people that I find dishonest or anything like that. And
Right.
I've never had a moment where I've questioned even like, why is he saying this thing, or like, does he
Yeah.
mean something else? Like, never had a moment like that with you, and so I respect who you are as a man because of those things, because they're
Right.
like so pivotal to me, and that's what this show is. And so the next time you come in, I want to talk to you more about that specifically, about being a man, being a good man, being a strong man, what that means to you, kind of like how you live that out. Do you have anything you want to say about that before we go? We don't have a hard out or anything, but
No, that's all
since
right.
we're-
I'll probably gather some thoughts on that, honestly.
Yeah.
But,
but yeah, I respect, identify with you as we're both girl dads. You seem like a very good father. You seem like a very
man,
good husband.
yeah.
So I
Oh
just
yeah, you started asking about that earlier. I love being a girl dad.
Yeah.
I used to think I wanted a boy, but before we had our daughter, I was like, it's kind of like, it's whatever, honestly. Either way, I could go either way.
Yeah.
But after having a girl, I'm like, yeah, I couldn't see myself having a boy now.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I love being a girl dad.
I love both of my children.
Yeah.
Reason and I just have a connection that's different than Dax and I do. We
Yeah.
interact differently. It's not,
different.
I'm not like
Yeah.
any closer with her than I am with Dax,
Oh,
but the
right.
connection is different,
Yeah, it's just
and it's the
different.
same deal with Dax and his mom. Dax and Jordan have a closer connection than him and I do. They also spend way more time together
Right.
because she's like stay-at-home mom. But as soon as Reason was born, that's her, and I had a very special.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
just fucking best friends.
No,
It's a
yeah,
very
that's
simple
crazy,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So I always find that very interesting.
Yeah, even grandpas, because like my dad and my daughter are like best friends. I think there was a time where I'm like, you love Papa more than me, don't you?"
Right.
Like literally, like they are almost joined at the hip. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
The grandparent relationships is so. Jordan was just talking to me about this yesterday. We're at her grandma's house in Keyport, so we're there with like Jordan's
right.
grandma and her mom, and then Jordan, and she was just like, I just love that they love spending time with my mom. That it's not like
Yeah.
a chore for them to go to their grandma's house. Like they like
Right,
going to
yeah.
Katie's house to like spend time there and spend the
Yeah.
night and like have dinner. Like they enjoy these interactions.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
And I remember a lot of my family interactions growing up were like just very forced. We didn't enjoy hanging out with
Yeah.
them. Like it was just chaos every time. And
it's just like, do we have to go?
yeah, and if like I don't interact with my family anymore because it's not.
It's just too much.
And
Like,
that's not family to me. Like those types of interactions,
Right.
they're not genuine. That's not family.
Yeah.
I
There's a
don't.
point beyond where
we
get
shouldn't
beyond-
be doing this because we feel compelled to do this thing.
No,
That's
yeah.
not. I don't like this. Like this is not
right.
a healthy structure for things.
No.
I would rather all of the friends I have, the family that I've cultivated, they spend time with because they want to spend time with me, not because
Right,
they have
yeah,
to.
yeah.
It's like, oh, the fucking holiday rolled around, we got to drive out to fucking whatever. Like, I don't want to do that. Then don't come
wanna
here.
do that,
If
yeah.
you don't want to be here, I don't
You don't
want
wanna be
you
here.
to be here.
You don't want to be there. You don't want to be there.
Yeah.
That's really that. That's and that's fine. But none of us should feel forced.
Right,
yeah.
right, yeah.
None of
So
us should feel forced.
I think that's really the chosen family, like, and just wanting to spend time with people you care about is really good. I really, really appreciate that. I think
Yeah.
it's very important.
Yeah. Yeah, chosen family. Yeah. Oof. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. I was like, we could. That's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in some communities it's just like chosen family. You know, people.
No, finishing notes. Let me talk about the last thing I want to ask you about, because we didn't talk about earlier, was your support structure, right? Because you talked a lot about
yeah.
this, and I find this really interesting because I've seen some of it just on social media and stuff like that. You have a ton of friends that you hang out with all the time, with Roanne, stuff like that. Like you guys just spend a lot of time together with kids. You're like, so talk to me more about your support structure, right? Because your parents lived here from part of the time. They were not always here to help out with Soraya, but you said like Sadie's family is here, and you have tons of friends. So what does that support structure look like?
So when my parents were here, it was just kind of, it's just so easy to get, like, you know what I mean? Because like I said, a lot of parents have to sacrifice things and they don't get to do all the things they want to do. But it was just so easy for us. So we just had so many people who, like you said, like relationships where they want to spend time together. You know, they want to spend time with Soraya. She wants to spend time with her grandparents. So when my parents were here, it was like, you know, they were like, oh, you guys get weekends free? Like as new parents, it's like, yeah, like she has to see her grandparents at some point.
Right.
And like our families have always been like, you know, you go see your family, you talk to your family, you know, you hang out with your family, because they're not forced relationships, like you're saying, right? So like, yeah, she has to see her grandparents at some point. So like when my parents were here, it was like she was spending Friday nights with my parents, and then she'd spend like Saturday nights with her other grandparents, or vice versa,
Yeah.
right? and it was just like we would get the whole weekend baby free, and people were like, how do you? And then like you said, my dad, like we were saying, my dad has been retired forever, right? He's a stay-at-home dad,
Yeah.
and so while he was here, he was a stay-at-home granddad essentially.
It's a natural next step for him.
If we needed a pickup, he's there for
Right.
pickup. We needed a drop off. I needed him to watch Sarai for a couple hours because I was gonna go see a movie or something.
Right.
Can I bring Sarai by? What are you doing? You know, if he wasn't busy, which he's usually not.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Even Sarai was going to track practices and like I showed up to one of the track practices, Brent High School. My dad was still here, and like the kids are like, where's Sarai? Like they all you know, they've been having fun with Sarai on the field and
Right.
stuff because she would go to practice. She would be with my dad. So
Right.
like I go into if you go into the Silverdale grocery outlet. His grocery outlet is my dad's favorite grocery store.
That's so funny.
And it's second home for him.
That's so funny.
So a third home for Soraya.
Yeah.
You go into the Silverdale grocery outlet and mention Soraya and my dad, everyone in there will know who you're talking about.
That's so funny.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
When I go in there with Soraya, I hear, hey Soraya, like in the back, hey Soraya, like 3 or 4 times. Like
Yeah.
everybody in there knows Soraya. It's so funny. It's so funny. But yeah, so it was like that. Like, but now that they're gone, like we still have you know, like her other grandparents and like even that side of the family, and like my cousins watch her sometimes too. Like my cousin will watch her if we need them to, or if I can't get her to church, they'll like get her to church for me or something, and then I'll pick her up. Like, and then her cousins will watch her because I have a niece that's like on her mom's side of the family that's like, what is Kimmy now? She's like 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
So she'll watch her. She watched her for me the other night. I went to a movie or something, and she came over and watched her for me for a couple hours. So like, it's just easy as far as like support for Soraya.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to have time, to get time, because you know we just have so many people that
Right.
she has good relationships with.
Which is the good relationship thing is like that's I think the hardest part. You know,
Yeah.
Is that we
Yeah.
like. We know a ton of people that have offered to like watch our kids. Our kids are very selective. Like they're very
Right.
shy. They're
Yeah.
super shy.
Yeah.
You know, so
Your daughter was
and
like,
that's with everybody.
Yeah.
They're like that with everybody that they don't see all the time. You know, so
Yeah.
like it takes time for them to build a relationship with you, and then they're cool. You know, but that takes a lot of time, and so that's like. Been complicated for us because we'll kind of go as is natural go through like waves of hanging out with like some people for like 9 months or whatever, then you like don't see them as often, you start hanging out with other people for a while, and so like that makes it difficult because then those people are like, well, watch your kids. You're like, yeah, well, maybe in like 6 months when they're cool with you, then we can do that, but then like
when they want
3
to be
months
around you.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's like a really difficult thing, and I don't talk to my parents are divorced, so I only have my mom here anyway, and I don't talk to my mom the last couple of years, so it's really just like Jordan's parents. I also don't want to like fucking watch our kid all the time, but,
Right,
like, it's,
yeah, because
to-
then you don't want to take advantage of
right,
the situation.
right. It's a difficult like line to walk,
because the kids are not easy to deal with. Like
Right.
I know, so yeah, the kids are. I know for a fact that Soraya is not always easy to deal
Right.
with. Like I know for a fact that like having her all day, because even when I'm with her all day, like it can be a chore.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put that on someone all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
At least the
for-
same person.
like,
so it's
for-
hard.
For us, it was easier. Like what your dad was doing, taking her to do stuff. That's for us. That's easier to take them to do whatever because they are like
Right.
they can like get the emotional support they need from us.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody even that they're cool with, like they don't want to go and do everything with you because if they get super freaked out, then they're gonna want their parents. And so
Yeah,
like they're
right.
gonna need that like
Right.
so
They're like we're an hour away from home, and I need
so
my
it even
dad.
like limits the people that are watching them because like
Right.
you can't have fucking people come over to your house and they don't know because they're gonna run to the back room and then
Right.
one of you is gonna have to go and hang out with them while the other one is out here
Right.
because they don't want to see this person. Like
They're not doing that.
exactly, they're just shy, So yeah, like it even complicates the other people. That's like I don't want to fuck with your routine in your life by helping me out, even though like you're also hanging out with your grandkid. Like there's a mutual thing that's
Right.
happening, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
difficult. They like wake up really early, and so it's like also they might be up at 5:30. Like I don't know what to tell you. That might happen,
Yeah,
and I
no,
am
crazy.
sorry, but
I know.
that's
I
yeah.
know.
it's,
But I like kids, and I like kids so much too. I try to be the friend. That's why I'm like, I need more like dad friends too.
Yeah.
And I need more like just parent friends in general. Because I try to be the friend that I'm like, yeah, like, because I'm off on Fridays and like
Right.
sometimes, people, and then and even in the mornings, like I start work later. So I usually don't start till like 10 or 10:30 sometimes. So I'm like, yeah, if you need a little help, like, you know, and if I like, obviously if I know their kids a little bit or whatever, because so that was like, that was kind of like, last month, like while Rowan was finishing like nursing school, she was like needing help getting the kids to school in the mornings on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So she asked me, and I'm like, hell yeah, like definitely, like I love her kids, like they're awesome, they're two awesome kids, and Soraya loves them, and they have a good relationship as a group of friends, right? And so, I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I can take all the kids to school at once, and so yeah, for Mondays and Tuesdays for like a few weeks in a row, I would get up and the kids would come over and we would like watch cartoons in the morning, and I would give them pancakes, and then I would put 3 kids in the car and I would drop Soraya off school and then drop the boys off at school.
Let's go.
And like it was just it was fun, and I was like, maybe I could have more kids, but like at the same time I was like, I don't know.
Right.
But the boys are just really chill too, so it was easy, and like it's different, like obviously only having kids for like an hour in the morning, right?
Other people's kids are like, your kids are always better for other people than
right. And I only had to be with them for like an hour, take them to school, and then that was it, right? So like obviously, but like it was super fun. That was like one of the most fun things I've done in the last year. It's like just take the kids to school together as a group of kids. That was just like so much fun to me. So yeah. Anyone out there, if you feel good enough friends to let me watch your kids, then I would gladly help you.
No, and I get up early on Fridays. That's part of what we're doing. So I get up early on Fridays.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I think that our kids would get along really well.
I think so too.
Our kids are really into Disney. They're very into Disney stuff. You know,
they'll watch together for sure.
Yeah, so I think that they would. We've got a whole playroom.
Yeah, we watch a lot
of
Bluey. We're a Bluey house.
Yes, lots of Bluey.
Love Bluey.
I also love Bluey.
I love Bluey.
Riza is really into Super Kitties. I don't know if you guys fuck with Super Kitties.
I don't know if we watch Super Kitties. Soraya might have. She watches a lot of stuff that I don't like. When I'm not like, when she's with other people and stuff, and she comes home and she's like, I want to watch this. I'm like, when did you start watching this show?
Yeah,
like,
we're pretty
She might have seen it.
Shit they watch too. That would took time too, because Dax will he'll tell his grandmommy like, oh yeah, no, I watch this at home all the time, you know, and then he'll come home and she's like, we watch this, and like, you motherfucker, like we do not. I told you can watch that.
Like, cannot watch that.
Yes, he does that all the time. Yeah, so we're pretty fucking. It took a couple tries.
Yeah, that's like my mom. My mom's an iPad grandma.
Oh, okay.
She'll be like, so Soraya's watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Watching all these little random and this really bugs me. And not because it's like bad or anything, but it's just really weird to me, and it's one of my old head boomer type of mentalities. But she's watching videos of little girls playing with Barbies and the toys that she has.
Bro.
Just play with your toys.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch this girl play with the toys. Yeah. Okay, you just play with the toys.
Yeah.
Why are you watching videos of people playing with the toys?
Very little YouTube.
Yeah.
Because that's like our nephew's the same thing. Like he watches. I don't remember what the kid's name is, but like he unboxes shit.
YouTube's
you're watching another kid open a toy you don't have? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
It's weird.
What is
it's
this?
Weird.
What the fuck is this? You want to watch another kid play with a toy?
I don't get it, man.
Toys,
I don't
dude.
get it.
Yes.
And then someone will be like, well, you watch gameplay videos. You were watching Breath of the Wild gameplay videos. And it's like, but that's different. I need to see how to achieve this goal.
Yeah. I'm not that good. Like,
I'm low-key cheating at the game a little
totally.
bit. Like it's like I'm trying to figure something out. Like they're just watching, and then it's like, if you're watching one, like if she was watching the video and then she's like, okay, this is how the girl plays with the Barbie, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Like, okay, cool, that makes sense. And she does that a little bit, but then you're just like scrolling and coming up on random stuff, and you're watching stuff that's like,
YouTube is a dangerous place. YouTube's so dangerous. Even kids' YouTube, there's been a few different instances over the last 5-10 years of just bad shit leaking its way through, you know.
Leaking its way through kids' YouTube.
People do just dressed up as superheroes and then doing bad shit, you know. And it just is enough to get through. It's just bad shit, scary stuff leaking through and stuff like that. Just weird shit that
So I be telling my mom, I'm like, bro, she don't need that. And she's like, well, when we're in the car, she always asks for the iPad. I'm like, because she knows when she's with grandma, she can get the iPad in the car. When she's with me, we don't do that.
Right.
There's no iPad, no nothing. Yeah. Sometimes I'll let her watch something on my phone. Yeah. And it'll be like a Disney movie.
Right. We let them watch things at restaurants when the food gets there. You gotta hang out and chill while we're chilling, while we're hanging out, whatever. When you're eating and I'm trying to fucking eat,
Yeah,
then
'cause I'm trying to eat, so you gotta leave
Then
me
you
alone.
can totally watch a movie, so me and your mom can
Right.
both eat a hot meal.
Yeah,
But
and for me, it's like movies. You
Yes,
can watch a movie, or
yes.
you can watch one of your shows.
yes,
But
yeah,
YouTube,
no, and
and
with
I
a,
can't.
they-
I'm like,
we don't
you
let
gotta
them
be-
watch
you gotta watch that
anything.
YouTube, man.
We don't let them watch anything that we've not watched, you know. So I've watched so many movies at work, like kids' movies at work, just because like he
Like-
wants to watch it, and like I'll watch it tomorrow. Like I'll hit it tomorrow. you
Yeah,
know?
I'll
So
watch it
someone
so
walks
you
up-
can watch it.
Someone walks up, asked me a question. I'm watching like Star Wars. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, he asked to watch Star Wars. I haven't watched it in 10 years. I gotta
You want
make
to watch
sure
Star
like,
Wars, Lego,
yeah,
Lego Star Wars.
exactly.
You gotta watch Lego Star
yeah,
Wars.
the last one was
Literally.
like a Super Pets movie. It was like DC Super Pets or something.
Oh, the
yeah.
Super Pets.
Yeah, and so I had to watch that, and someone like, "What are you watching?"
Yeah.
Like, he fucking asked about it. I gotta watch it first. Like, I gotta make sure
I'm
it's
the same
fine.
way.
Yeah.
And I go to the movies a lot. As
Right.
people know, I love
Yeah.
movies. I go to the movies a lot. So if there's a kids movie that comes out
Right.
and Sarai wants to see it, I'm watching
that's-
it with her.
yeah.
So it's like it's not so bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm going. Yeah, let's
For
go.
sure.
Like I'll
We
take.
did
her.
like Inside Out 2 and stuff like that. Like that's If
Yeah.
we're gonna go to the movies with you, we're experiencing it together.
Right,
and then if
right.
there is something that's sketchy, at least we can explain it on the
Yeah,
back end. You know,
yeah.
like this is why
Yeah,
this maybe wasn't
yeah.
that cool.
I'll go
for,
out of
like,
my
them
way
do.
to go to the movies with you. Sure, I love
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
Me and Sarai just went to Despicable Me 4 like
Oh,
2 days ago on Tuesday. We went to Despicable Me 4, and I was just like, yeah. And she always has a ball at the movies.
Yeah.
She loves the movies too. But that's probably me. I'm like trying to condition her to
Right.
love it so she can go with me. When she
he's
gets
been getting
older.
really into it. It's a fun thing too.
I'm like trying to condition her to like
Yeah.
movies as much as me, so we can watch movies together when she's
Hell yeah.
older.
Yes, 100%.
I'm like literally, I'm trying to
Gotta get that focus. in.
force her to
Yeah.
like movies and going to the movies. And
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, whenever I ask her, I'm like, "You want to go to the movies and watch that?" And we see trailers and stuff. She's like, "Yeah, yeah."
Gotta cultivate those relationships, man. I
Right.
let Reason help me put the magazine in my pistol every day when I come home. Come home,
Yeah.
take the round out of it, put the round back in the magazine. She's like,
Right.
Daddy, oh yeah, fucking slide it in there, baby girl.
You know how
learn,
to do it,
yes,
right? Those
learn
relationships.
young.
And these are things to remember, like, and these are things that like create, like I
Core
think, like
memories,
my
bro.
love. I think a big reason for my love for movies comes from watching movies with my dad.
Yeah,
Like, my dad would let me stay up way too late on school nights and we would just watch TV. And we didn't watch TV because he didn't watch a lot of shows.
Right.
He did get down on some like NYPD Blue, which I love.
that's so funny.
Old cop show.
Yeah.
Old New York cop show. NYPD Blue is so good. And we would watch stuff like that. Like he liked that. Like he loved that show. And I liked it because that's what we watched it together.
I love a good cop show, dude.
Man, NYPD Blue is crazy.
Detective
but
drama.
yeah. And like Lincoln Heights, I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yes.
Lincoln Heights, that was a
Yes.
good one too. And then that one also dealt with the black community,
Right,
and like so that
right.
one was another perspective where I was like, oh okay, yeah. So it's like there's both aspects of the
Right.
show, and that's really cool.
My
yeah,
mom was
so-
really into The Shield. I don't know if you guys ever watched The Shield.
I heard of the Shield, but we
Yeah.
didn't watch it. Yeah,
She always said that one was really good.
yeah.
I just watched. I'm a huge fan of Mindhunter. Have you seen Mindhunter?
No, but I've been
So
meaning to
you-
watch. It's
you-
on my watch list.
You gotta watch
It's on
it.
my
It's only
list.
2 seasons, and I'm pretty sure that it fell victim to George Floyd because
Yeah.
when they were making the second season, it's loosely based on real people, right?
Right.
And so they're interacting with like some real serial killers and stuff like that, and they're hemming up like one of the very few prolific black serial killers in the end of the second season, and it's like right during like George Floyd and all of like the riots and stuff. So I kind of think that just with the timing, they're like, we're not about to make a 3rd season of a show where a black man is the criminal,
Right,
you know? They're
yeah,
like, so we're
after
just
that happened.
we're just gonna axe this and we're gonna
Yeah, that makes sense.
because
Actually.
their second season was like a crazy cliffhanger, and it's like right in the middle of this crime, and like I remember watching like, okay, what the fuck? Like, so when does it come out? And then I
That's
just rewatched it. I
crazy.
finished it this week, and
No,
I'm like,
literally,
I was
it's
like, okay, I
crazy.
think I understand now why they ended this year.
That's
Yeah,
probably a good idea.
it's a true
That's probably
story.
a
It's
good
based
idea.
on a real serial killer, but like I think this just was a victim to bad timing. Like
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
yeah.
that's probably a good idea. That's
Yes.
crazy. Yeah.
But that's a really good show. That one was really good. And then I
Yeah.
watched one that was called The Outsider on HBO, and that one's based off of.
Oh, I've seen about that. I've seen that preview. It popped
That
up
one was
for me.
based off a Stephen King novel. I've
Yeah.
not read the book, and of Stephen King, so it like turns very, very supernatural and shit.
Yeah,
very
usually.
fucking good.
Yeah.
Very
That
fucking
one?
Good. Oh yeah.
The show?
Yes, the
Okay,
show
I'll
was
have to check it
incredible.
out.
And then another one, I watch way too much shit at work.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about fucking show, oh, it's all day. And then another one that was on HBO called We Owned This City. And that one was about a gun trace task force in Baltimore in like the early 2000s. So that one is also just like a drama, but it's based on real shit. And John Bernthal is in it. He was Shane in The Walking Dead.
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
yeah, so he's like the main crooked
Oh,
cop.
okay.
That was a fucking great show. That was like a
Wow.
limited series. It was like maybe 6 or 8 episodes.
Dang, that's cool.
That one was fire.
Okay, I gotta.
Yeah,
I gotta
and it's the
watch
same deal.
those.
Just the way that they're fucking abusing Baltimore. You know,
Yeah.
that's like when crime is really high, they're just rolling down the main streets and just arresting people for being outside.
Just
They're like,
being-
this
just
is how
doing
we're going to
whatever.
get the crime numbers down. Is we're going to arrest everybody, and then
yeah.
you get out in the morning, and you sign a waiver that you won't sue us, and we'll let you out in the morning. Like that's how they were handling crime in Baltimore. So we're just going to lock up
Crazy.
everybody for 24 hours, and if you promise not to sue, then we'll let you go and drop all the charges. And they're just doing that every weekend for like a decade.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's like a DA and stuff and like a civil rights unit that's in there. And they're talking about people who have 36 arrests for nothing. For
Just for nothing.
loitering. Like for people getting
Just for
arrested on
just
their
for
own
standing
steps.
around.
Yes, on their own front doorstep. Like a cop telling them to go inside and they're like, I'm on my steps. And they fucking arrest them. Like, I fucking told you to get inside. Like, oh
so
my
crazy.
God. Like,
That's
how
so
is
crazy.
how is this
Just arrest
ever
them.
a thing,
How's
dude?
that ever possible?
Yes,
That's crazy.
for a decade. Like,
That's so crazy.
it's insane. Yeah, that one was really good. That one was really
yeah,
good.
that's cool. That's cool.
Okay, well, this was a great
Yeah,
episode. This was
okay, thank you,
fantastic.
good.
So,
I'm glad it
no,
was
thank you
good.
again for being here. I don't have like a finishing line for the show. We've been working something with the triangle because I think that works well. So we
like the
just
triangle.
keep hustling, try from a different angle. I don't really know, but
Yeah.
no, I appreciate you coming in here. I think this was a great episode, and
Yeah, man.
I'll have you again
Have
real
fun.
soon because
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
this was great.
good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you guys very much, and we'll see you again soon.